Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in to Upsurge Premier League. We're getting into the playoffs. We are in round one. And what better way to start things off than with a very, very spicy game here, joined by myself, Travesty, and the ever so lovable, just the definition of machismo,
What?
chilling
Okay.
walk here.
Yo, how's it going, Travis? It's been a long time. The last time we commentated was back at Compete League, as you mentioned. So
Mhm.
it's been a couple years.
Yeah. Now, we started, you know what? We started casting gold players. Here we are over here in the Premier League, getting into playoffs, and we're in round one here between two very competitive teams here. Both of them having some very huge stories that are going to come crashing against each other.
Yeah, well, first off, we have to mention about Orgless, right? Because this is the reigning champions from the last Upsurge Premier League, formerly known as Low Key Esports, still maintaining
Mhm.
majority of the same roster. While Snowman's Crushers, they've been popping off as well. They had the group of death, they won against Supernova and made it through into playoffs. So honestly, this is a pretty exciting match to see how well they're going to be duking it out in this first round one of the playoffs.
You mentioned the group of death, man, but you got to think that this team has a little bit of a curse following them around at this point in time because they get out of the group of death and they go against a team that is leading in almost every individual statistic available. That is
Mhm.
terrifying. And we got to see, is their luck still good? Are they just so freaking good when it comes down to situations where they are the underdogs, or is it going to be Orgless just improving and padding out their stats here in this series?
I mean, that's one of the benefits when we talk about the Snowman Slammers, right? Because they're the underdogs, because not a lot of people expect him to hold their own against these top teams, one being Orgless, the other one's being 100 Thieves next. We're going to have to see what Snowman Slammers have when it comes to dealing with these guys. And the thing is that when you don't have anything behind you, when you know that no one is really expecting you for greatness, that's where you don't have any sort of additional pressure on you and additional stress when it comes to your play style. And because of that, they're able to do a lot of wacky things and play the way they want to play when it comes to these games. And it's one of the reasons why they made it out and now they are into playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see that because I love seeing teams that have that fire that are looking to try and find different ways. Winning all the time can actually make it to where you actually, stay back a little bit. You get a little bit too comfortable at the peak, and there's always those teams that are clawing their way up to the top. And Snowman Slammers, they've been that team inside of this season, making sure they'd be able to actually grab a bunch of these different wins in very creative ways. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Snowman Slammers are going to be looking to try and slam down Orgless here.
And keep in mind that if Slammers were to take Orgless and win in this first round here, that means that they're going to be facing the winners between 100 Thieves next and 100 Thieves next, and of course, First Blood Crusade. And we know about First Blood Crusade. They did pick a majority of Mirage Esports' roster during the second half of the Upsurge Premier League. So we talk
Mhm.
about a Cinderella story. If they manage to win against Orgless, then and if they win against the winner of 100 Thieves and First Blood Crusade, it's a pretty big three big teams in the Upsurge Premier League. So we're gonna have to see what they want to do and how they want to implement their new strategies against Orgless.
I'm gonna have to see if those glass slippers fit because it's a Cinderella story, is what we're talking right there. As we are going to be jumping into pick and ban here, as Orgless over on the blue side, Snowman Slam is over on the red side, and we're already seeing these bans fly through immediately. A Cassiopeia ban from Orgless.
Yeah, of course, one of the best champions right now in the mid lane with the phase rush buff now in 4 seconds. Cool. And knowing that Chaos Vermin loves playing that champion as well. When we talk about Orgless, though, these guys have been together for quite a while, so they definitely have a good feeling of the way they want to play and the way they want to approach the draft in and of itself here. We know that City Witty and 3-1 Warrior are the main stars on Orgless, but when we take a look at Snowman Slammers here, we have to talk about Eric Ziyang, a very volatile jungler when it comes to his playstyle, known in the
Mhm.
solo queue ladder as well, and going to see what he wants to do when it comes to this game as well. As you can already see here, Snowman Slammers already banning away the set, but Orgless, of course, banning away the Yumi as well.
Very powerful pick when used in the right compositions, indeed. And now Snowman Slammers, the ball is over in their court. See what they're going to want to go ahead and get away from Orgless. Orgless will have the power of first pick, and seeing how they'll be able to use it. Snowman Slammers kind of figure out what do they not want to hand over first. And Olaf seems like a pretty good answer.
Yeah, definitely like the Olaf ban here. City Woody loves this champion, loves these aggro junglers here. Honestly, both these junglers love playing these carries here. As you can already see, Orgless banning away Graves as well from Eric Ziyang, one of his comfort champions in the jungle as well. Honestly, surprised that Senna hasn't been removed yet from the table here. Could be a champion that both the teams might not be valuing when it comes to the new tech, when it comes to Senna, Tom Kench, and Senna with a farming support here. But as I said, commentary's curse. Snowman Slammers are going to be getting rid of it. Not going to give Orgless that first pick.
Not giving them that one to try and keep away these power picks away from Orgless. Now the ball is in your court. What do you decide to take your shot with? What is the first pick here? As got a couple options still on the table, and Misfortune, very viable one to grab.
Yeah, this is definitely something that's been occurring when it comes to Upsurge itself here. We know that Otto from 100 Thieves Next loves playing it. King Vix, of course, one of his favorite champions as well. So this is definitely something that a lot of the amateur teams love playing here. In Collegiate, we don't really see a lot of Misfortune here. Grandview doesn't really play it as much. We know that Robert Morse also doesn't play it as much as well, so a different change of pace when it comes to the 80 carries here. But Snowman Slammers, they're going to be looking to pick up one of the best tanks in the game right now, picking up the Ornn here, and of course, going to be needing a little bit of that CC with the Varus as well. Definitely a solid two-pick rotation here from the Snowman Slammers.
It does draw into the question. Orgless now, they have 2 picks for themselves to grab on up, and yeah, I think of what they want to grab. Support could be looking very good to snatch up for themselves here. I'm sure they probably would have wished, hey, we could have gotten a Varus and the support as well, but it looks like a Rumble being hovered here. Will it be locked in? It is. That could be a lot of power that's flexed between the top and mid.
Yeah, I like this as well. Knowing that Young is a great Rumble player and also 3-in-1 Warrior loves playing this champion as well. It's a great flex overall from both the solo lanes here. And of course, it just benefits Orgless's playstyle, right? They love playing towards that top side, towards 3-in-1 Warrior and towards Young as well. But in the meantime, instead, maybe they don't want to flex it as much because if they lock in that Aatrox, we're going to be knowing where they're going to be going towards.
Yeah, very much so. Aatrox and Rumble, we're seeing them both be played here, and they can interchange between the two, right? Aatrox can go mid, Rumble can go top, or vice versa. But it is going to be them locking in solo lanes, not one to show off what the support or the jungler is here by Orgless as Snowman. They're just going to grab themselves Tom Kench, and they're free to pinch down whatever pool they please.
You know, I'm actually kind of surprised when it comes to Orgless's draft. Usually, you don't really see all 3 of the carry lanes being picked so early here, so maybe there's a mystery flex that could be coming through from Orgless overall, maybe sending Rumble in the jungle or maybe Aatrox in the jungle from way back when. I highly doubt that, but still, yeah. Orgless changing up the draft just a little bit here. You usually see a jungle or support being locked in early in the first 3 picks here, as you can already see Snowman locking in that Tom Kench, but going to see what Orgless wants to do when they want to run off that competition, because right now they have the building blocks of carry, a lot of carry damage right now built in. All they need now is a little bit of utility. As you can see, Snowman Slammers already getting rid of 2 junglers from City Witty, the Jarvan 4 and that Lee Sin.
Yeah, it still leaves some champions act as the glue for Orgless. Of course, you can't ban away all the junglers possible here. And like you said, Rumble, Aatrox not on the list of champions that we've been seeing here recently. The unorthodox jungle champions to be added into that patch note list. So probably going to see a jungler coming around in this next rotation. But this next ban, it's like it was a missed ban. Not sure if that was just them missing up on it. It was a Kayn ban there, so it is going to be yet another jungler taken away from the pool here. And so, man, they have the option on what they want to pick.
Yeah, one of Eric Ziyang's more comfortable champions, but Snowman Slammers, they want to try and pick a lane bully into the Rumble. They're going to want to try and see if they can pick it up, but instead, I don't think they're going to be locking this on. But I got to talk about the Sylas ban real quick here. Orgless banning one of the best counters away from Rumble in the mid lane here. Not a lot of people know about Rumble and the counter picks here. Rumble being one of the best dueling mid laners, and of course one of the best 2v2s in the mid lane, but the one who could deal it back is Sylas as well. So Orgless, I like the good ban here, taking away the #1 counter against Rumble in the mid lane. But Eric Ziyang going for one of his comfort picks, going to be in that Kindred, and we already see that he loves playing these carry junglers. As we said, Graves already being removed from the table here as well. So now City Witty gets his pick of litter, and he's going to be picking one of his comfort champions.
Yeah, the Kha'Zix coming on in here, and this Zac being hovered here, I don't think that was going to go on through. Well, it was a nice little hover, but need to see a little bit more tankiness, I feel like, from Orgless as they're fletzing through a bunch of the different picks here, trying to figure out what their heart settles on. And They're trying to see if Braum is indeed going to be the strongest. The heart is the strongest muscle. Oh, wait. Actually, wait, it's Zach. They went right back to Zach.
Ah, okay. So this is what Orgless is doing. I knew there was going to be a flex somewhere in those first 3 rotations because you rarely see the 3 carries being picked so early here. So more than likely, Orgless are going to be putting Rumble on that bottom lane with the Misfortune. Because here's the thing: when you have Misfortune and Rumble in the bottom side against Varus Tom Kinch is not going to have a fun day knowing that there's so much damage being built in on that bottom side here. Of course, picking the Zac maybe probably for the top side here. I'm liking what Orgless got. Or what Orgless can do here because they can pretty much swap around wherever they want to go here. But it looks like Snowman Slammers, pretty sure they're going to be locking in that Cassin as their 5th pick.
Yeah, that Cassin, this is giving them actually some very strong here as we're looking at how everything is looking. I have to say, like, we see how these teams are kind of building themselves up. We've got some really strong threats here on the side of Snowman Slams. Like the Varus and a Cassin, very strong threats, but it do take a little bit of time to get going.
Yeah, that's the thing with Slammers. And right now we just have to know where this Rumble is going to be going to. It technically could be a Zac on the bottom side as well. Orgless has a lot of drafting changes of what they can do here before we go into the champion select here. But if it is going to be Zac bottom, that means that Rumble is going to be in a pretty tough matchup against the Castanen. Of course, you're going to get a lot of early pushing from level 1 to 6 here. But the moment Castanen starts getting his items, getting that catalyst, that means that Castanen can pretty much hold his own in the mid lane with that Rift Walk and with that sustain that he has in the game itself. But Orgless have a very good and very early game composition, but if Snowman Slammers can last out the onslaught, last out that early game and get to those late game items, especially with Ornn and that Forge, they're going to be popping off.
It's going to be phenomenal. And ladies and gentlemen, we're just having a slight technical delay. You know, it is just us trying to get into everything and get everything going for ourselves. So we will be starting up the games and whatnot, getting going into everything after the delay has been sorted. I do want to point out Orgless with the fact they have these crazy rotations. You talked about it. You already hit on it where you said, wow, Orgless, they picked all these solo lanes. They picked their damage right at the very first rotation. There has to be a trick up their sleeve. And here we are. We're seeing that trick up their sleeve. They are packing it with damage, like just straight up damage, which is insanely nutty to me when we look at how these combinations are going to work out possible.
Yeah, 3-1 Warrior being the anchor for all that damage of what Orgless is dishing out. We already have King Vex on the Misfortune, and of course, going to see what they can do here. Young, more than likely going to be piloting that Aatrox, or, you know, we just have to see where they're going to be flexing it all the way around. Honestly, though, when we talk about Snowman Slammers, this is a very bold draft of what they have in mind, right? Because they only have 2 main damage sources approaching the mid-game from Varus and from Kindred, and Cassin is going to turn online after level 11, and of course, once he gets level 16, that's where he becomes unstoppable, right? But that's the thing about Snowman Slammers. I'm just afraid of what's going to happen in the early game here. If Orgless, we already see how well they play. They love that early game aggression. City Woody loves getting in the jungle here and knowing that he has a lot of winning lanes on his side, or pushing lanes, I would say, towards Snowman Slammers. They're going to be looking to put the pressure on Eric Z Yang, and we have to see Eric Z Yang here. He's definitely a feast or famine kind of jungler here, and if he gets pressured in the jungle, I'm not too sure if he could actually survive and make sure he can bounce back with his team.
Yeah, and Kaz is a very strong champion at making sure to keep somebody down in the ground. Kindred has this problem where is telegraphed on where Kindred really is going to go, puts out the marks, is really putting a bullet point, a target of where can you find Kindred and where can you find Kindred isolated. This is kind of an issue that I'm glad that you brought up here, because I was looking at this composition, and one of the big things I'm looking at is where is Kindred's help if the Kha'Zix decides to go in for the kill? Is there going to be any lane priority to come out from Snowman Slammers if the Kindred is caught at a mark in the scuttle in the early part of the game? It actually does look like a very scary situation.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Slammers, right? The early game isn't the best here. Cassidy gives you no mid priority in the early stages when it comes to the composition, when it comes to the champion and how he functions itself here. And we know that Kindred loves valuing fighting in the river, fighting for these scuttles and fighting for these marks. And Cassidy, he's gonna need that rift walk if he's going to want to fight it out here. And because Snowman Slammers is just a little bit iffy, I would have liked a little bit more of an early game mid laner that can take on the potential flexes of what Orgless has in their draft itself here. But nonetheless, this is what Snowman Slammers loves to do. This is the way they like to play. Going to see if they can pull it out.
Indeed, indeed. And Orgless, they're looking like they're pretty comfortable as well here. Looking like they could be very, very at home with the picks that they have grabbed themselves. You were talking about it earlier, a little bit of comfort coming here and there. I'm really excited to see how these fights around neutral objectives are going to come out, especially with Rumble. Whenever there is a Rumble and there's a neutral objective that everybody's starting to grip around, it's guaranteed to be a fight because the red carpet gets laid out. So I am just ready to see the chaos ensue when these Drakes and Heralds start spawning.
And Orgless already locking in when it comes to the champion selector. We're going to be seeing 301 Warrior piloting the Aatrox, and of course, Cat Ears piloting the Zac on the bottom side here. So we're going to see, instead of Rumble bottom and dealing with that strong bot lane push, we're going to be seeing the Zac on the bottom side. A great counter pick as well into that Tahm Kench, because if Tahm Kench was to eat someone, they'll just pick both of them right up, baby. And that's what happens. And, you know, with that Let's Bounce and with disrupting everyone and separating the fish from the AD carry, they're going to be able to focus down Jeremy Chu as well. So I definitely like this pick overall when it comes to Cat Ears. Haven't seen it a lot right now, but if Cat Ears can pilot it well, it's going to rise a lot in priority from Snowman Slammers to get rid of it from Orgless and their draft.
I 100% agree. I'm actually going to look and see what the first buy is going to be from this Zac support, because then just theory crafting, right? Like if we're going to theory craft it, I love playing support as well. I play a lot of roaming and whatnot supports. Zac, you rush Moby Boots and you run straight to mid lane. It is so hard for a jungle, for the mid laner to actually deal with all of this. I mean, can you imagine being the Kassadin and there is a Zac and a Kha'Zix flying from opposite sides of the Fog of War? That is just insane, because now all of a sudden you got a ward for a bug and this big goo man.
Yeah, and that's the thing about Cat Ears. She loves playing the roaming supports as well, so expect him to move early here. And of course, when we take a look at Orgless, their composition doesn't have a true tank, so I'm going to expect a first Gargoyle Stoneplay buy from Cat Ears just to make sure that he could be the front line, be the main source of engage when it comes to their composition as well. So going to see what happens here, but we're going to have to load into the screens here. And I think, Travis, you got some ads waiting for you.
Well, listen, I got a beautiful word from our sponsor. So, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to stick around, catch this video, and we will be right back as we get into game one.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting into round one of our playoffs here in the UPL. We got Orgless on the blue side, and over on the red side, we got the Snowman Slammers. My name is Travis. I'm joined here with Chillin' Watt for this series. If you're just now joining us, and we are getting into, it's already looking like a little bit of a spicy start here from these two teams, kind of testing the water.
A little bit spicy, but I'm not going to expect anything from a game one when it comes to this first game. They got to test the waters, as you said. Honestly, I'm just surprised to see Jeremy True run the Arcane Comet, so I'm going to be expecting a Lethality Vars on the bottom side. He also ran the TP as well, so a little bit lacking on the damage, but if he manages to make it out of lane, he's going to be doing a lot of poke when it comes to Orgless's roster, because here's the thing. They don't have a lot of tanks on that side, so any piercing arrows that's going to be landing is going to do a ton of that health.
Exactly that. You can actually also see the start that he went for with the corruption potion just tells me he is definitely saying, I'm surviving lane. That is my goal. I survive lane. I get item. I become big, strong. It is hard to match a misfortune in lane. And they just said, all right, well, but there's going to be a Zac here. We're just going to keep our distance.
Honestly, kind of surprised that King Vex opted into the Doran's shield here. Usually you want to see a Doran's blade and try and fight the 2-on-2 here, but I'm surprised. I guess because he saw the comment here, he wants to go for that sustain overall, and I like to see what they're doing here. Both teams going for that lane swap as well to avoid the bad matchup. Of course, Young not want to pair against the Kassadin, and of course, 3-on Warrior going to see a 3-on Warrior opted to go mid to see if he can fight Chaos Run, but instead they're going to be fighting their original matchups as well. So that means that right now overall it's going to be favoring Snowman Slammers, because Chaos Vermin, he's in a pretty free lane right now.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. As you can see, a little bit of damage coming on out. And I do like this as well, like you were talking about for Snowman Slammers. If we're going to look at the big picture, like of the Drakes, as Cat Ears jumping in with the Elastic Slingshot, just going to get a lick there as he takes a heaping amount of damage.
Now, if he didn't take that turret shot, it would have been a great trade here, especially at level 2 here, but he took one, so he lost around 250 health here. But take a look at Eric Z Yang here. He took his full bottom side here and then immediately reset for the top side. But look at where City Woody is at. He's already taking Eric Z Yang's red buff here as well. So that means that Eric Z Yang, he's going to get pressure. And this is what we were talking about in the early game, right? Even though Chaos Armor is in a pretty free lane, being able to survive when it comes to the early levels, both the lanes for Orgless are pushing forward here, and because of that, City Woody is going to meet Eric.
City Woody, he's found him. The wolf is there. He's going to flash on over. He's going to find City Woody jumping on top of him. He's got those claws in. They are digging deep, and he just wants a piece of ham. It is going to be first blood, though, that goes over to Eric Z Yang. Just a millisecond apart there, and that is going to be a little bit upsetting for City Woody, I feel.
Yeah, a little bit, because when we talk about City Woody, that was actually a great fight, but those Krugs were doing so much damage against City Woody during that entire interaction here. So Eric Yang getting a little bit of reinforcement overall when it came to that entire fight. Young and Chaos Vermin pretty much showed up at the exact same time and with those flashes as well. But first blood going in, still gold advantage is still in favor for Orgless right now, but just a little bit.
Thing to take note of too is going to be the fact that double buffs did go over to Young. That is a lot of lane pressure against Chaos Vermin. So we'll have to see if Young is going to be able to make the most out of it. As Chaos Vermin, as you can see, he's just farming with his abilities, really and truly. But you can see already, this Kindred not going to be able to claim the first mark of the game.
I like what Young is doing right now, getting that push and then moving around the map, because he knows that he can't kill Kassadin in a long lane, so why not exert pressure on the map here? And actually, speaking of pressure, gonna be a little bit of a lane swap, but Eric Z Yang and Magi are around the corner.
They punish it. Eric Z Yang is looking for it. Young does not have flash available. He will get chased, hunted, and slain, as that is another kill to Eric Z Yang.
Yeah, unfortunately, getting caught from the lane swap means that Young is going to be going down here, and that means Eric Zien gets his second kill of the game. It's looking good for him right now. And when we talk about Snowman Slammers, they drafted a pretty late game composition, but right now this early game is looking good for them.
It really is, and just a beautiful rotation. I don't know if that was a call out for the lane rotation to come out there, or if that was just them being prepared, but you can already see it here. Uncle Derry coming back up to see Young switch it over, get back up there with 3-in-1 Warrior, not trying to let them get the matchups they want.
Yeah, interesting to see how Cadiers plays around with it. He does have his boots here, and you already see him putting some vision on the bottom side quadrant, which is great for Orgus because when we talk about their composition again during draft here, they're gonna need to see if they can push the tempo early on with a lot of this early game damage that they have built in. Young, when he gets that equalizer, gonna be looking to fight around all these objectives here, but that's the biggest thing. If Snowman Slammers can survive those neutral fights, or if not that, win them overall, they're able to scale up, they're able to kind of tank it out, and then from there fight around the 20-minute mark, especially around Baron. As Ocean Drake is the first Drake up, both teams should be looking to prioritize it pretty early.
Uncle Derry, actually, one thing I did want to take notice of is he did not take that grass, but here we go. We have a possible fight coming out here. Magi going to get jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him. He hits the blast gun, is going to flash over the wall. Damage being returned back to him. Jeremy Chu going to lay out a little bit as well, get the slows, and they're going to be able to escort their support right out of there.
Jeremy Chu on the backside here, but looks like they still want to fight because Erziang already hopped over the wall.
Yeah, he's over the wall. The elastic slingshot comes out, but the damage is definitely there. Erziang laying out a heaping amount of pain, and it's definitely looked like he's wanting the feast right here in this game so far.
Yeah, it does a lot of damage right now. 2-1 right now on Eric Z Yang. But still, look at City Witty right now. 38 CS here. And of course, Orgless's vision is crazy. 3 wards on the bottom side quadrant, 1 ward on the top side as well. And this is the thing about Orgless. This is the reason why they're one of the better teams in the league right now. It's about that early game vision that they are establishing, and it's looking good for them.
Absolutely is. Chaos Roman taking a little bit of poke damage. Ocean Drake is up. When we're talking about the neutral objectives in this game, and definitely got to look at that being a focus between these two teams, looking for when that possibly could come about. Is Jeremy Chu could be hitting 6 here very soon.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the Cassidy matchup when it comes to the Cassidy and Rumble matchup, but instead Cadiers.
Oh wait, Cadiers taking a lot of damage. Passive is going to be popped. That is going to be the heal that will be used at night, ticking away on Magi. He is just going to find himself losing his life. It looks like Zach is not going to be able to revitalize himself as Jeremy Chu picks that kill up for himself. No ult needed.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Cadiers was thinking there when it came to that fight. IKVX wasn't 6 at all. Cadiers wasn't 6 as well, but because of that death here, that means that Eric Ziang is going to get that free Ocean Drake for his team. There's going to be a lot of early sustain here, and we talk about a late game composition. Getting an Ocean Drake, it means they're going to be surviving these lanes a lot more and a lot healthier.
This is phenomenal right now for Snowman Slayer, and this is why this is a team that got put in what everybody was looking at as like, oh, this is absolutely the group of death, and came out swinging and ahead here. And they're definitely showing that they are made up to be able to tackle on Orgless. Now, going into the game with Ocean Drake being grabbed, you got to look on the other side of the map as Shelly is looking to be the consolation prize for Orgless, but there's a fast rotation coming in.
Oh, yeah, you already see the early lane swap at 8 minutes. A lot of these high elo teams love doing this. You already see Jeremy Chu and Magi on the reset, looking to play topside here, but there's no wards from the Snowman Slammers on that Rift Herald. Now pings are coming out, and Cadiers is going to get sniffed out as well, but looks like Ari Ziang, he's going to call off the contest here. Rift Herald did get picked up, and City Woody now has that in his pocket.
He's some smelly goo, you know, Cadiers. He's playing that Zag. He's got that smelly goop inside of his veins, and is going to be able to be sniffed out. While over in the top lane, a heaping amount of damage being put right back onto this Ornn, but it might just be the bait, the World Ender coming on in. It's going to be the call of the Forge God hitting up 3-in-1 Warrior. He's going to have to flash out of there and find his way to survive, as Young was looking to rotate Chaos Vermin, find them out over in the mid lane, trading out a little bit there. As, oh wait, Cadiers is yet again, you're too low for this, buddy. One more auto. Jeremy Chu gets him with the flash auto attack. Poor guy, it was hitting him in slow motion.
Yeah, Cadier's not 6. He doesn't have that let's bounce here, and Cadier's now 0-2 now, costing IKVX and the bottom side a little bit of these early deaths here. This is something that happens even when they were back on low key. Cadier's dying a decent amount in laning here because just a little bit of these hiccups from IKVX and Cadiers when it comes to just these 2v2s, and it's still showing as well. Cadiers, though, great after laning phase, but this is costing him because right now they're picking up another plate here. Gold lead sitting 1k ahead, and honestly, I'm pretty surprised about Snowman Slammers and what they're doing right now on the bottom side.
City Witty is over here in the top lane. Just dropped the Rift Herald. They know where he is because of that. Cadiers is now jumping onto Magic. There's going to be an excellent use of the stopwatch, keeping himself alive. But lots of damage being returned right back to him as Jeremy Chu has that lethality and is ever so lethal with it.
2-0, has that Dirk as well in his pocket, so definitely a lot of damage as well. So City Witty, though, going to be showing up in the mid lane.
Yeah. Shows up, says hello. Chaos Vermin, having none of that. Rip walking right out of that gank. As the Lesset Slingshot is getting charged on up again. I don't think he wants to go for it, as his HP is very low, but they will get that plate gold.
Yeah, Eric Z. Yang wants this mark, though, as you can see, Travis here. City Witty already looking to take it, but this might be a fight.
Looking for it. The damage coming in. Eric Z. Yang is out for blood. Here comes Tom Kench in the backside. Not going to be able to catch him out as Young. Going to find his way out, and beautiful rotation from him, laying out the equalizer to just discourage and push away the side. Up. Snowman. Slams.
Bold call from City Witty to try and fight that when he knows that mid priority isn't established and bot priority is heavily in favor of Magi and Jeremy Chu here. So does unfortunately lose it. Eric Ziang did manage to pick it up for his struggles here, and City Witty did lose that flash overall. And because of that, now the early game composition on the back foot. You already see Chaos Vermin, because of that mid priority in that free lane, already moving around. And Jeremy Chu, man, he wants to throw these chains of corruption at the slippery, slimy bastard from Cadiers, but to no avail. 1K gold lead in favor for them right now.
Yeah, he's a little flubber, you know, he just bounces on around and wants to continue catching them out. Now, 3-in-1 Warrior getting caught with Eric Z. Yang's chickens. That is not a sight you want to have there. Nobody messes with his chickens but him, as Cadiers looking for these interesting ways to possibly start stuff or apply pressure, but I don't think Jeremy Chu or Magi are afraid at all.
Especially with this lethality Varus, right, Travis? Because we talked about it a little bit when it came to that play, but however, Cadiers wants to say hello for a little bit.
He's gonna make Jeremy Chu kiss a minion. He's gonna be like, "You, bro, that was a little bit gross. Did not like that at all." He's gonna go ahead and clear out this wave immediately, as Jeremy Chu taking a good amount of damage back, and say, "All right, we'll respect you. We'll back up a little bit this time before we start our recalls."
Yeah, but Snowman Slammers are in a really good position. Uncle Derry only down 10 CS here. Talk about the mid lane chaos, only down 5 CS as well, and hasn't died as of yet. Already has a catalyst and the Tear of the Goddess in his inventory, and this is the reason why you pick Cassin into the Rumble. You're not going to die to him one-on-one. You're going to survive it pretty much the entire time, and knowing that Rumble doesn't have any sort of gank assistance outside of the electric harpoons, more than likely you're going to be safe, especially post 6 here. And you're going to see Chaos Vermin pretty much looking solid in this game state here. 13 minutes in, 0 deaths right now, equal CS against Young. And we talk about this early game aggression from Orgless. Now they're losing it, as you can already see the second Drake being picked up from the Snowman Slammers here. 2 Drakes in, we're going to have a Cloud Drake coming in hot, and here's the thing, you don't want to cast in with these Cloud Drake buffs, especially with the Cloud Soul, because he's going to be a fast Void Ninja.
Yeah, and I love this item choice, by the way, from Jeremy Chu. First lethality item he picks up is the Glaive, so even more vision control, something I really love seeing inside of these competitive games here, and will be the way to see how he uses it, how he rotates around the map. Is Eric Yang looking for something? City Witty going inside the jungle, looking to get him on out. He's found him isolated. The claws are in there. Oh! He is going to get Chicky done over. Shutdown going over to City Witty.
Yeah, Eric Yang didn't expect the Raptors to kill him with that much damage, but unfortunately doesn't use a Lamb's Respite to make sure he saves himself. Because of that, shutdown goes into City Witty. That's going to be something that they're going to be needing, because City Witty now 1-1-1, the main fuel in this early game here, and he's going to be looking to create a lot of havoc with that kill and with that shutdown as well. So going to see what they can do here, because right now Orgless, they're still on that back foot.
Orgless are still trying to find their momentum, and that's not what you want to do with this kind of a composition. And it is starting to become a little bit of a worrisome trend, but King Vets is so freaking low. Jeremy Chu just does a ridiculous amount of damage. And Cadiers, want to be careful, but he might have Aftershock, but they will shock you with the damage that Jeremy Chu will pump out.
Yeah, and IK Vix, all he wants to do is walk up and use that double tap, but whenever he does, Jeremy Chu lines up a piercing arrow to be ready for that trade, and then, the only way you lose that, the only way you win that trade is if you actually get a double up against a minion that's going to be dying. But because of this lane prowess from Jeremy Chu and Magi, and a little bit of mistakes from Cadiers, they're going to be looking to take the first turret 15 minutes in on the bottom side. Rift Turtle is still on the table as well. As you can already see, resets are coming in, but I like what Orgless is doing. They're already setting it up. They've already taken it down. They're going to be using it to crack some more turrets as well.
Yeah, they've got free rotation to choose from here, and you can see they decide, hey, we're going to spend Herald up here in the top side. Another TP coming in from Magi, as he did have that inside of his inventory with that unsealed spell book. And it will just be a turret to fall and a little bit more gold to help out Orgless here.
Yeah, got to pay attention to how many stacks Eric Ziyang has right now. So currently sitting at 2. Usually you see 3 or 4 in this game state as well. And honestly, good job on City Woody to take away these marks from him. As you can already see, the 1 mark is on the Rift Herald. I'm not Rift Herald. I'm sorry.
The Gromp.
The Gromp, that's what it is. Apologies. Oh my god, getting caught up. But in the meantime, they are sitting mid lane. They're gonna see if they can take this mid tier 1. As once if they manage to do that, they're gonna be able to access the map here. 16 minutes and only 4 minutes left till it's Baron here, and I'm gonna see what Orgless can do to bounce back and get the foot on the pedal.
As Eric Ziyang finds himself in a very weird situation. He says, everybody is roaming down here. Leave me alone. My mark was on the other side of the map. You're not supposed to know about this. And beautiful vision to talk about from Orgless coming in here. As look at all the deep wars that they have secured inside of Snowman Slammer's jungle.
This is great stuff from Orgless. This is one thing. This is what we talked about early on. They had that early game vision already set here, and they're going to be looking to set that up again. But knowing that there's still 3 minutes left before any sort of objective here, majority of the time they're going to be fighting for these marks from Eric Ziyang, or if not, that fighting over these small buffs here. But speaking of objective, looks like Orgless, they have their sights on this bottom tier 1.
They're looking to go ahead and see if they can secure it. Could be a possible fight to come out here. Uncle Derry is left all by himself. Everybody needs to watch out for him, as Magi needs to be careful here. City Witty looking to pop somebody if they overextend. Young getting jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him. That's going to be the equalizer coming on in. City Witty's over here on the backside. He's going to be able to find Jeremy Chu. He's going to have to flash on out of there, as it's going to be the Litz Mounts coming up for Carriers. Lance Sprite not going to be able to come out fast enough, as that is going to be 1 kill. That's going to be 2. And they're looking for another one possibly here. Can they get it for themselves? King Vet's looking for a dive underneath the tower here, as Uncle Derry trying to escape 3-in-1 warrior. Looks like he will be successful that way. You don't want to get too close. City Witty is still looking for more. He's on a rampage. City Witty is making so many clean plays happen.
City Witty putting his team in his backpack. You saw what happened in the initial part of that fight here. You saw him just hugging the river right then and there. Already has control war in, so they had no idea he was sitting here. And the moment they over-aggressed on a Young, immediately the equalizer comes out. City Witty jumps on the back line. Eric Ziyang unfortunately doesn't get the Lamb's Respite in time to help out his fellow AD carry, and because of that, they managed to take a clean sweep, and Chaos Vermin didn't even bother joining the fight here. He still has his TP as well, so a little bit of a mistake here, but honestly a great play from Orgless, as now the Cloud Drake is up. Both teams are going to want to fight for this as well.
Yeah, and this is going to be a big one to go ahead and grab. It looks like they're going for the fight here, and it is going to be a lot of damage being returned. Eric Ziyang is shot down so very low. He does not have the Lance Respite. He's stuck inside the jungle camp, but he's going to find himself going on down, and the Drake goes over as well to Orgless. Spit that hot fire. Young, as he is going to take out Uncle Derry, and Orgless had just been on a roll the past 2 minutes.
Man, that was a 4 versus 5 overall in that fight as well. King Vex was nowhere near around that fight. He was coming back from base to see if he could join in, but 3-in-1 warrior having a great flank on the top side of the map, coming in, zoning away Jeremy Chu, Magi, and Chaos Vermin means that Uncle Derry and Eric Ziyang are the 2 people who go down on the Snowman Slammers, and because of that, they pick up the Cloud Drake. They're going to get a little bit of CDR that's going to be well needed, as you could take a look at their composition. Their ultimates definitely matter when it comes to these games here, so right now, we talk about Orgless. They were kind of slumping a little bit in the laning phase, but now they're turning it back on, approaching 20 minutes.
Yeah, they're turning it around in the time where we weren't expecting them to have all this aggression and making these plays. And I feel like a big thing we need to talk about is the patience that's coming out from Orgless. They are flanking in a lot of these fights, and it's nuts. And we have a replay here. Actually, if you would, guide us through this, Chilling.
Yeah, taking a look here, we have to see what happens here. You look at 3-in-1 Warriors, zoning 3 people out as 2 people are fighting Uncle Derry. Eric Ziyang fighting a 1-on-1 against Caddies, and look at City Witty jumping right in to help his fellow support in 3-in-1, immediately kiting back out. This is the credit of the top lane and that jungle, as we talked about from Orgless. 3-in-1, soaking 3 people, pressuring 3 people off away from that dragon. And again, King Vex was nowhere around.
Well, look at this. Actually, we got a Baron start that's coming on out. Magi is being in a tricky situation here. Void Spite's being used to zone him on off. Baron has been stopped. Be a very tricky spot indeed, as Aries Yang is going to find himself getting jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him. That's going to be Cat Airs going in deep. He's going to find himself getting blobbed on up, chunked away. His passive has been popped. Is this the fight they want? Bullet time coming in from the bat side. Lots of damage being put onto him. They're going to use the TP on the blobs, keep him alive, and that's going to be a beautiful knock of Lancer Spite being used by Aries Yang. Lots of damage still being turned in as Cat Airs rejoins the fray, and it is just going to be a rombo, as it is just going to be their life bars bouncing down to 0. A double kill for City Witty, and you gotta imagine this is gonna be the Baron.
Man, King Vex with that bullet time to zone off everyone else and do a little bit of damage to make sure Cat Airs survives there. City Witty and, of course, Cat Airs on that revive comes swinging back in 3-1, of course, on that top side flank. This is a game of flanks from Orgless right now because they're catching everyone out of dodge, and that's what's working out so well when it comes to these fights here. 3-1 are on one side, Cat Airs on the other, King Vex are now on another side as well. Because of these 3 back-to-back fights that occurred, 21 minutes in, they're going to get that Baron. Look at the goal lead already, ballooning up to 6K in favor for Orgless.
I want to point out, just about 4 minutes ago, there was a 2K lead that was in favor of Snowman Slammers. This game has completely turned on its head. This has been a growth over a course of 6 minutes of 8K in favor of Orgless. That is insane to think about.
Yeah, majority of it is off of City Witty and Cat Airs making sure they're together and making sure they're fighting the vision and making sure they're getting in the right positions at the right time. Credits to those two. This is the reason why Cat Airs is so great on this roster. Even though laning phase is the laning phase from King Vex and Cat Airs, sometimes they lose these 2v2s. They still make sure they bounce back, because when we talk about City Witty and Cat Airs together, they make sure they hold each other's hand. They make sure they cover each other's weaknesses, and that's why they're making it work so well around the neutral game and around these neutral spaces of the map here. No man's land, making sure it's working. 6K Goldie now in favor for them. Dragon coming up in the next minute. I'm honestly not too sure if the Snowman Slammers can actually hold onto their own, because they're sitting pretty for quite a long time now. The Orgless are turning it back up. They do find 3-1 Warrior though, but Chaos Vermin, he's going to back off.
It does come down to the question of where the kills grabbed on, and were those the places that Snowman Slam is needed, right? There's no kills on this Cassidy. He's only been able to get 1 assist out of all of this, and you can actually tell that from his item build. He is not as strong as what everybody else would be. I mean, if you look across the table, Rumble almost have a Rabadon's completed, which is absolutely going to be disgusting for his damage, while Cassidy is still trying to get the second part of his scaling build going.
Yeah, and another thing as well is that with Cat Airs on this Zac and with the vision that they have from Orgless and the superior vision that they are already established, Snowman Slammers, they're getting caught out with the Zac pick here. We saw what happened when they came to the vision game from both ends on a neutral level, right? Snowman Slammers, they kind of get caught out. They don't really set up proper vision. That means Cat Airs can kind of abuse this fog of war, and that means that he can set up these elastic slingshots from anywhere.
And it's the Fog of War that has really been one of the biggest enemies here for the side of Snowman Slammers. They're positioned around to see if they'll be able to do anything with this Cassidy over here on the side. Call the Forge guy, gonna be coming on through. Will they be able to connect it onto anybody? That's gonna be a flash that comes in from King Vex, not trying to find himself out of position. And that is another Cloud Drake to go over to Orgless. So beautiful on them. Nothing lost from the side of Orgless going for that.
Yep. King Vex losing his flash though, so that means that majority of the targets of everyone else will be focused on him in these next fights here. But keep in mind that right now Chaos Vermin and the Snowman Slammers, they just want to scale up. They want to see if they can stop this bleeding that is currently happening right now here. Baron buff just about to end overall, but you already see the vision that they already have from Orgless and the control they have on this bottom side quadrant as they pick up another turret on the bottom side.
Yeah, we're seeing these towers kind of just fall one by one by one. Brick by brick is what Orgless's game plan has been here, and they've been making good use of that. Rotations through the Fog of War that they have created have been absolutely great for them. And another thing to take note of, too, is the fact that you look across the field, right? There is so many things that have been negated. We talked about the scaling. You have a Kindred and a Cassidy. The Kindred really hasn't been able to get any stacks.
Yeah, still sitting just taking a look at it right now, still only sitting on 3 now. Only picked up 1 since the last time we checked. I thought she would have picked up more, but Eric Zien, fortunately, getting pressured around these fights, and because of that, losing out as well. They haven't picked up a kill since those laning phases overall. So a lot of clean fights from Orgless means that Eric Zien is unable to pick up these marks, and it's one of the main engines of what Eric Zien needs to do here. Already has the mark placed on 3-1 Warrior, but right now they just have to stop the bleeding and scale up and see if they can kind of take the enemy jungle, take some of these marks, and get Caston up to level 16 here. You already see Chaos Vermin, he's at 15, and Young also at 15 as well, but when Chaos Vermin turns 16, he's definitely going to run rampant in these team fights.
They got to keep an eye on where City Witty is, right? City Witty, 7-1-2, 100% KP. If they see him moving around somewhere, they just need to assume that's where the next play is happening. We need to be prepared, as he is just constantly having pressure all across the map. And you see he's looking for this Caston. This Caston has been split pushing for the past couple minutes, and sounds like he's had enough of it.
Yeah, you already see City Witty trying to see if he can corral against Chaos Vermin. And this is the thing about Kha'Zix overall. He can actually just play to hover a side lane and just assassinate the split pusher as well. So I definitely like what Orgless is trying to do here. Young handling the Uncle Derry on Ornn here, and 3-1 Warrior in a good matchup against Chaos Vermin. Did hit him with the Darkened Blade, but still Chaos Vermin does sniff it out just a little bit here. Doesn't know where City Witty is going to be, and you can already see Orgless still paying their respects. They don't want to turn on just yet. A City Witty trying to see if he can find a pick.
It's hard to find a pick against the Caston, to be fair. If you don't have any hard CC, it's going to be hard. But City Witty, he said, I got Def as a CC. That counts, right? Not going to be able to catch him on in, but over here, you're seeing this game kind of go into a little bit of a stalemate, kind of a turtling phase coming out. And you got to think this might actually favor Snowman Slims.
Yep, definitely does. They're going to just want to see if they can farm up and see if they can rally. City Witty, of course, trying to pressure Chaos Vermin away from this wave as Baron is coming up right now. And this is the thing. This is what they want to do. They're going to set up this Baron, see if they can set up another fight here. And if Orgless manages to win this next fight, it means that they're going to be looking pretty good as they do find Magi in the jungle.
Yeah, they're going to be able to find him out. And, he is going to be able to push him on over there. He is going to be caught in such a bad situation. But is it really Equalizer coming on in? That's going to be them looking for something to call the Forge guy. It's going to be able to hit onto 2 over on the backside. So much damage being laid on the Magi. They're trying to focus them on down. Here's Yang is going to find him. It is going to be the Lancer's fight to keep them on alive. But over on the backside, Derry is looking to do his best. King Betts gets him with the double tap and is going to be able to find a double kill. But now it's Cassidon over here on the backside. He is unanswered. He is something that you have to fear as Chaos Vermin looking for something possibly. Uncle Derry going to be able to get the knockup for his team, and he's going to be the re-engage. City Witty trying to get out of there. Chaos Vermin is still alive. Jeremy Chu is picking up the scraps in the backside, and Chaos Vermin comes up huge.
Man, 2 kills from King Vex with that double up, taking out 2, but Chaos Vermin was taking so much focus, but he still managed to survive. 10 stacks on that Rod of Ages, fully stacked on that Seraph's Embrace means that he's going to stay alive. Use that stopwatch as well to make sure he can carry out the fight. And keep in mind, Jeremy Chu wasn't even touched during that entire process as well, sitting up full health, and that's a big win for the Snowman Slammers, because that's a gigantic breathing room. Now bringing down the goal lead down to 5.5K. Baron buff is coming up. We have to take a look at the flashes, because right now 1, 2, and 3 flashes are gone from Orgless. But in the meantime, Chaos Vermin and Jeremy Chu, they don't have flashes as well. But he's over the wall.
They're laying out some damage on the Candy Hairs here, as they are really hurting him. And we gotta keep our eyes on how some of this tunnel vision has been playing out. Cloud is gonna be the next up, and you can see Orgless now. They're on the back foot. They're having to respond to what these Snowmen are plotting, and it looks like their plot is going to be successful as they grab this Drake. Oh, City gonna get jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him. Looking for possibly more, as that's gonna be the heal to come on in, give him a little bit more HP, a little bit of move speed. Here comes Uncle Derry. He's looking for the call of the Forge guy. Gonna be able to find that onto City Witty. Lots of damage coming out from that pissing arrow, and they're gonna be backing it on up. The Equalizer has been laid out. Welcome. Here's the red carpet. Magi, you're going down quick this time, buddy. 3-in-1 Warrior now over here on the side, trying to jump onto Uncle Derry. Is gonna be able to get him not on out of harm's way. Is a tanky boyo is gonna have to blow his flash and get up out, as the HP bars are fairly low from some of these pivotal members from Orgless.
Yeah,
Ooh,
kill
cat
going in.
ears.
A kill going in favor for Orgless because they picked up Magi under the turret to save Chaos Vermin. A lot of aggression there, knowing that City Woody was the one who got chunked out overall, which is what caused that fight. But still, knowing that City Woody's out of the fight, they want to continue it. But a little bit of a mistake when it came to the dive overall. But still, they're looking pretty good as Snowman. But they want to see if they can
They're
find another
looking for
fight.
more here. The equalizer is back up yet again. They're looking for it. That's going to be the Lancer fight that's going to be used. They're looking to clap some cheeks, but it's only going to be them knocked up into the air. Uncle Derry trying to see if he'll be able to get the CC that his team needs. Cat Air's dropped down so critically low. His passive is going to go ahead and be popped. There is one TP that they could use from Young, but they are just going to let him be the sacrificial lamb, and he will go on down.
Man, Orgless now turning it back on. This is the timer of when their composition starts functioning here. 2, 0, and 3 on Chaos Vermin. Deathless right now. Uncle Derry starting to itemize and start upgrading these items that the roster has. Eric Ziyang has a upgraded Black Cleaver and is still sitting 2, 5, and 2. That Lamb Sprite is basically saving Chaos Vermin in these fights here. So if Chaos Vermin manages to survive, he can just run rampant overall. We talked about their squishy members. All 4 of them are squishy and finally Cat Ears picks up their Gargoyle Stone Plate to make sure he can be the front line, but I'm not too sure because now this game is pretty much back to being close now, Travesty.
Yeah, even though the gold is still at that 6K difference here, Chill. Right? Like, even though that gold lead has not changed, that is still, like we were talking about earlier, beneficial for Snowman because the bleeding has been stopped. And with them having these scaling champions, Cassidy is looking terrifying. Earlier, not too long ago, didn't have 2 items completed. Now, all of a sudden, has 3 and is working on the 4th item and is ahead of the curve of his lane opponent all of a sudden.
You're going to see Uncle Derry upgrading the Zhonya's Hourglass to the Zhonya's Paradox, getting more stats to Chaos Vermin, and these are the kind of the hidden stats when it comes to Orgless' composition. As Call of Forge gets casted in the mid lane.
Yeah, they're looking for something to go into the mid lane, trying to get the catch onto the AD carry. Now it's going to be Cat Ears looking to turn this around. He's going to be able to find one catch onto him. That's going to be the equalizer going into the backside. Kindred's going to find himself going down. He's going to be gone, and now it's Chaos Vermin trying to lay out damage whatever he can. Uncle Derry's getting a lot of damage being put onto him as it is just King Vets firing away. He's absolutely free firing. 3-in-1 warrior looking to jump on the Chaos Vermin, thinking if he does want to go for this fight or not, and it is going to be a whiff roll to get himself freshly out of there, as they only have to sacrifice City Witty for them to get that play.
Yeah, the big thing about that fight is Eric Ziyang not being able to use the Lamb's Respite to make sure he and his teammates are surviving throughout that entire time. He's a pivotal member because of his ultimate. Even though he's 2, 6, and 2, he just has to make sure that Chaos Vermin or Jeremy Chu can stay alive. If he doesn't get that off, this is what happens, and everyone else starts running rapid. Only Chaos Vermin for the defense, and he's going to have to hold out.
They're looking for it. Chaos Vermin jumping into the back line. King Vets is in a terrible situation. The equalizer comes on in with what being used defensively as he is going to be able to get away with his life now. And now we are seeing a TP coming over to the top side here. They're looking for a possible play. Is it going to be the Baron Rush? Cassidy, he's roof walking on over. They're looking for a collapse. 3-in-1 warrior. He has the World Ender, but is it going to be theirs or his that will be ruined? The piercing arrow comes on out. Flash going to be used as well by Jeremy Chu, but nothing to be grabbed on their end here as they're looking to turn their attention over to the Baron.
You know, Travis, I definitely respect what the Snowman Slammers wanted to do there. They want to see if they can find those picks and then force a Baron here. But unfortunately, Jeremy Chu blowing his flash, Chaos Vermin also losing his flash as well, means that they're not going to pick up all these kills here. They're still looking for more. As you can already see, Chaos Vermin Rift walking forward.
They want City Witty. They want City Witty. They want City Witty. Chaos Vermin. Greed equals speed, buddy. Do not go for it. And they are going to push him on back. And countless Rift walks forward. He is now feeling himself level 17 at that castle win status, and he's feeling himself.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Travesty. Cloud Drake is now up here. Snowman Slammers, they have 3 Drakes already. They're going to see if they want to go for the Cloud Soul, because that's going to be a great benefit for their entire roster with those ultimates. But in the meantime, you already see Orgless going for this Baron here. They're going to be going for a trade here. Chaos Vermin does have that TP, but still trading objectives right now. The longer this game holds out, though, the better it's going to be for the Snowman Slammers.
Yeah, they got to make use of this Baron buff. I think that's the most pivotal thing for us to talk about. When we see this Baron buff be applied, we need to see pressure being put out there. Still, 1 more inner tower left to grab and 2 inhibitor towers for them to look to pressure with this Baron. And you got to think, if they don't get control over the map yet again, with this Baron buff, it is definitely something that they're going to regret as that Baron buff runs out.
They do have the mid inhibitor down though, so they do have a little bit of an access point across the map as well. But right now, all Snowman Slammers have to do is hold out in this Baron push right here. You already see 4 members from Orgless on the bottom side looking to see if they can set up for this bottom tier, this bottom inhibitor take here with all of those Baron minions and these waves coming in. But Chaos Vermin now level 18, almost about to pick up this Lich Bane, and once he does, he's definitely going to be unstoppable, as you already see all 5 members corralling on this defense.
Oh, City Witty looking for something possibly. Cadier's just gonna have to use that elastic slingshot to get out of harm's way. Equalizer has been used, but it's not in a good position. Cadier's dropped down so very low, using the Litz bounce to get out of harm's way. There's the piercing arrows. They're looking for the TP to come on in, try and keep their support alive, but it's just gonna be a shutdown that goes on in instead. That is another kill. The Chaos Vermin, they're looking for more. The Chaos is breaking out. They're in the choke. They're looking for more. Orgless looking to go in fast pursuit here, but not going to be able to catch any of the intended targets, as they are just going to be able to get out the Snowman Slammers, slamming away back to the base.
All 5 members are still alive for the Snowman Slammers, but they all fought in a choke when it came to 3-1 Warriors, so have to be mindful of what's going to be going on at the end of the day.
Yeah, that is definitely something here, as seeing as everything that is going in, City Witty is looking to be in a position now to really, I mean, he's been the pivotal member. 727 has been doing all this stuff in the early to mid game. We have to take note of how everything else is going to play out now, because Cassidy now at Casa win status, and the Kindred still getting some items, has that ultimate. They provide a utility for their team, and the Ornn, giving out the Ornn items, is becoming a very, very scary and real threat that the side of Orgless are having to deal with.
Yeah, of course. You got to pay attention, though. Baron buff is about to run out, so just taking a look at these. Taking a look at the Baron buff. It's about to run out any second now, but Elder Drake is coming up in the next 3 minutes here, along with that Baron as well. So this is a long game. You know, Snowman Slammers, they're the ones who are on the back foot. They're the ones who had everyone against them. And Orgless, one of the better teams in the league as well. So all they have to do is see if they can bounce back, see if they can take this game 1. Because if they do, it's going to be a pretty big victory overall. And all they need is another game after that in this playoff.
Yeah, they are currently sitting at still the deficit sitting at 6K, 3-1 Warrior having to retreat fastly there, and Chaos Vermin is just popping people whenever he sees them. It's like having a just a laser guided missile. He jumps onto you, and your HP bar is guaranteed to fall.
Yeah, he even blew through that Sterix gauge as well on this casting here. Now has that Lich Bane, 4 items now, basically just holding control ward. So this is where casting gets very scary to deal with. Not a lot of hard CC on Orgless's roster here. Only Caddish is the one who can keep him on lock. But if he doesn't manage to get onto him, that means Chaos Vermin can just run rampant on the back line. You already see everyone trying to itemize that magic resist here. You already see the Maulbound memories from City Witty as well. So now, approaching 2 minutes though, both these teams are looking to see if they can set up here. Orgless, they do know that they are on the back foot against this late game composition. So gonna have to see if they can get that wombo combo, if they can get that elastic slingshot into 3-1 Warriors Darkened Blade. And if they manage to do that, they could definitely hold out on top.
I think we got to keep eyes for City Witty with Chaos Vermin doing these pops like this. If he finds City, he's been finding somebody with a Sterix gauge. Imagine if there's somebody out there that's squishy and doesn't have a Sterix gauge. And let's say his name is City Witty. He's a Kha'Zix. You know, he's also the jungler. And with what you were talking about, Elder Drake's going to be coming up not too far away from now. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on the positioning from City Witty, because if he gets caught by Chaos Vermin, it's going to be disgusting.
But still, you already see Orgless setting themselves up for this Elder Drake, because they know that whoever gets this Elder Drake will pretty much win. You don't want Chaos Vermin to have that Elder Drake at all, but they may have found a little bit of these fights in this choke points, as Orgless, they are on the retreat.
Yeah, they're looking for more. The Equalizer comes on out, not in the greatest position at all, and it's going to be City Witty getting jumped onto. Chaos Vermin getting a lot of damage put back onto him as the lethality coming on in clutch, and Chaos Vermin is going to go ahead and reset here. The team was there to support him, and you could find a very interesting spot. Wait a second. Chaos Vermin's TP.
Yep. Yeah, he has
Wait a
that TP.
second.
I was going to mention that. I'm not too sure if you want to try
Wait a
and
second.
Wait a second.
Wait a second. Chaos Vermin finds him. He goes all the way from the base and 100-0. Take him on out. City Witty's gone. That's going to be the Call to Forge guy. That's going to be going into the backside. They're going to be looking to lay out a lot of damage. This cat is just going to go ahead and try and bounce, try and buy his team some space. But it's going to be Uncle Derry. He's just going into the backline deep as he can to equalize. Coming on in. That's going to be the Lancer Spite that's going into the backside. He's keeping himself alive. Cat re-engages it. But Magi, Chaos Vermin, he's here to pick up the fight. Call him the janitor because he's doing cleanup duty. Young is going to be next up on the list. Lots of damage being put onto him as they are looking to grab the kill. Young kills one, but it doesn't matter because Chaos Vermin's looking for the game here possibly.
The late game composition now triumphs 40 minutes in. I thought Chaos Vermin was going to TP and help his team on the 5-on-4, but instead he wants to try and squash that Insects, and he does. Coming back in, the 4-on-4 was so good in favor for the Snowman Slammers. You already see only Magi going down. Everyone else still alive. Chaos Vermin being a huge part in those kills. They're picking up pretty much 4 of them in that entire fight itself, and because of that, they're going to be taking the victory 41 minutes in, looking good against Orgless.
Dude, you know what? You know what they say, right? Castle win, baby. 6-0-6. Didn't die. Took his time to scale and was looking like a very, very phenomenal part of the team. And really and truly was just a sight to behold throughout the game. I don't think anybody would contest that.
Oh, yeah. And of course, that's the biggest thing when we talk about that roster, that entire draft, right? It just looks so good overall when it came to the 40-minute mark. That's all they had to do. They had to survive the early game onslaught. You saw what happened the moment it hit the 15-minute mark. 3 back-to-back team fights in favor for Orgless. Those 3 team fights, they didn't die at all. But then that one team fight basically swung them back on that top tier 2. And that basically meant that Chaos Vermin gets himself back in the game and now starts popping off. And that's what happens when you deal with this laking composition. We talk about those orange items. It doesn't start kicking into low 14, but that's additional stats not being calculated into that gold stat overall. And now that means they pull on ahead. Now they're up 1 game. Orgless, they kind of have their backs against the wall here. So if I'm them, I'm definitely going to have to be nervous.
I feel like a big thing for them to absolutely look at is the fact that their draft that they picked up has, I think every single spectator here looks at this draft and says, wow, the early game to mid game should just belong to you. And the early game did not belong to them. I think that's a big thing that they have to sit back and look at because they didn't get the early game they wanted. They got the mid game, but that was them making a comeback. They made an 8K comeback over the course of 4 minutes. And then they turned around and just floundered while the Cassidon got time to scale. And you can even look at the damage chart, right? The Varus's damage inside of the fight continuously going on. That poke that constantly kept going. I feel like that's a big thing that people have to look at, especially if you're looking at from the viewpoint of Orgless. They couldn't close out anything because they were constantly getting shit down every time they pushed in.
Yeah, that's what happens when you have 4 relatively squishy members, right? No true tank outside of Zach, outside of Cat Ears on that bottom side. And even then, he doesn't have that goal to purely itemize all these tank stats against the Varus here. And even though Varus did majority of the damage before these fights here, Chaos Vermin was the one who cleaned it up. The only person who kept him alive, of course, was Eric Z Yang as well. So that's the thing about Orgless. They did have an early game composition, but these mistakes on the bottom side, giving 2 free kills over to the Varus meant that they're able to kind of just dominate that lane, get that first blood turret at 15 minutes and open up the map for themselves. So if I'm Orgless, we have to kind of clean up these small little mistakes here. Maybe not underestimate our opponents in playoffs here and see what they can do to bounce back. Because Orgless, you know, they're the ones who are the reigning champions in last season of the Upsurge Premier League. So if they can just bounce back, make sure they're playing their game plan and make sure that, you know, they have a little bit of their rounded off competition in these fights, it works out well.
All right. Well, with that being said, I mean, I'm ready to see what they're going to be able to do, but we got to give them a little bit of time. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take ourselves a short break. Be sure not to go anywhere as we are going to be going right to game 2. So be sure not to touch that browser. Hey there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to UPL. We are in playoffs round one, baby. And we just got done spectating what was a fantastic first game to start off the playoffs here in UPL. My name is Travis C. I'm joined here by Chilling Walking. Chill, right? This game one definitely exceeded a lot of players' expectations looking at this. And you and me were both going back and forth about all the different things that were going on in the middle of our break.
Yeah, definitely crazy here when we talk about that game one. It was definitely a back and forth, right? Orgless had the early game composition. Snowman had the late game composition, but in the early game, Orgless did fluster the laning phase a little bit here, but they came clawing right back. They honestly just kind of blew a trigger, immediately picking up what? Picking up 7 kills in the meantime in the span of 5 to 7 minutes. It was so fast, but fortunately, they got stalled out from Snowman. They did a great job handling that damage control, picking up and making sure they didn't bleed out, because the moment they stopped bleeding out, Chaos Vermin on that Cassidon, he definitely popped off there in the meantime. And you already see what happens with a 40-minute Cassidon with a Cloud Soul in the back foot of him. He's going to be running rampant in these fights.
Yeah, we saw him actually just hunting down single targets over and over and over again. And seeing how everything's been going has been disgusting. And we got a replay actually to show of that last fight.
Yeah, gotta take a look at this right here, because you already see Chaos Vermin on the backside taking out City Woody, but now coming back in. You already see 3-1 Warrior being the only person back in. Cat Ears trying to see if he can help out his teammate, but look at that double Rift Walk, taking out both of them, now corralling everyone else in this last fight here. And honestly, Chaos Vermin with that TP to chase down City Woody definitely helped him out as well. So it honestly looked really good for them, especially at 40-minute mark and Chaos Vermin on that cast. And so if I'm Orgless, I'm gonna have to be mindful on red side draft if you manage to win game 2 going into game 3, because if you have a bad matchup for Young into the Cassidon, he's going to run rampant again.
And I love the fact that we start off this replay and we look at everything. And the first thing I'm like, yeah, Cassidy was on the other side of the map like 2 seconds ago. Like, you don't get to see that part. I'm like, I want to get the tech to where I can just go in there and draw on the magic board and do the circle and go all the way through, because I just want to see like a couple minutes ago, he's killing somebody on the other side of the map, and that's the effectiveness of that Cloud Drake, like you were talking about. He's just rift walking all the way back into a fight.
Yeah, he had so much move speed too from the home guard, plus that Cloud Sword whenever he rift walked. So of course he managed to find City Woody. I honestly expected him to TP for that dragon fight, to fight a 5v4, knowing that City Woody was going to be on the reset here. But instead, you want to squash the bug. You want to find him as soon as possible, because honestly, that game was a battle of the assassins. It was basically City Woody against Chaos Vermin, who could assassinate the other first. Because when we take a look at whenever they met, they're both pretty much sitting at red health bars at the end of it. They both did a lot of isolation damage to each other, and they both just kind of reset and to lick their wounds, right? And that's basically that entire time post 30 minutes. So gonna have to see what happens going into game 2 and what the draft is gonna be. But Snowman Slammers, they're the ones who are underestimated. They're the ones who had that Cinderella story coming in. And if they manage to win this, they're gonna be facing the winner of 100 Thieves next, or the first Blood Crusade.
Yeah, and we're going into pick and ban here. And a pick I'm not entirely sure I'm going to be seeing here is going to be Cat Ears on the Zac again. Bought some pressure in the mid game, but wasn't too terribly hot. Now we got to see what the adaptation in the pick and ban phase here is. And Orgless immediately saying, we are not playing Ornn, and you are not first picking Ornn. So let's get it off the table.
Yep, of course. Uncle Derry definitely put a lot of tank stats on his end to make sure that he could stall out the game with those Call of Forge gods. And of course, picking up two Cloud Souls is going to help him out when it comes to stalling out that game as well. But you already see Snowman banning the Silas, which is interesting. You don't really see this ban early on. I'm going to assume they're going to look to see if they have a first pick Rumble here or set up Orgless to take that away. So definitely surprising here overall, but Orgless still going to see traditional red side bans here, the Ornn and that Senna being removed from Snowman Slammers.
And Snowman's actually adapted their bans here a little bit, as they're the team to ban the Silas this time around, banning it in the second rotation there and of their bans. And now the third ban to come on out, it is going to be the Yuumi here. So this time Snowman, they're banning away Yuumi and they're banning away the Silas this time around, as Orgless see what they want to give up. If there's anything in particular they want to let Snowman Slammers have.
Got to keep the cat away from Cat Ears. Of course, when you have Cat Ears and King Vex on that bottom side here, their bot lane is going to be pretty much solid here. They can sack it very well. They can play aggressive towards it. And also, Carriers won't have a little bit of those issues in the early game laning phases that occurred in game 1 here. But Orgless going to be banning away Castillo from Chaos Vermin. Saw that banned in game 1 as well when they're on the blue side. But now, Snowman, Slammers, they're going to have their first pick here. Going to see what they want to opt into when it comes to just engineering the draft so far.
Started off as we saw Misfortune was the first pick last time. It's a marksman, but this time a different type here. Graves coming on in. That's a lot of confidence, I would say, coming out here from the side of Snowman Slammers.
It's a bold pick from Eric Z Yang. He already picking up the Graves immediately for himself here. So going to see what Orgless wants to do here. That means City Woody does get his counter pick into the Graves as well. But the thing about Graves is that Snowman Slammers has to engineer a composition around him. So I'm going to expect a little bit more of this front line, a little bit more of these tanks here. But you know what? City Woody, he's going to say, I can play the Kindred better than you can, Eric Z Yang. I'm taking it for myself.
Yeah, we're seeing marksman going into the jungle here, right? We got the double marksman jungle. It's very rare that you get to see this, as you usually see them not matching each other like this. And it is going to be Varus that gets locked in for Orgless as well. And we'll have to see what variant of Varus this will be as the draft continues on forward. As now the ball is in Snowman Slammer's court.
Trav, see, Snowman drafting against themselves because they picked 2 champions. But Orgless just picked 2 champions that Snowman just picked up. What's going on here? Something's going on. Don't even know what's going on, right? Because it picked up Kindred. They picked up Kindred first rotation. They picked up the bars as well. Just shot that for an Ornn. You know, it's just surprising to see what Orgless is doing. I guess they're trying to flex it against Snowman Slammers. Like, hey, we're going to play the exact same composition you did, but even better. Instead, Snowman Slammers picking up one of Young's best champions in the mid lane. It's going to be a Syndra. He's phenomenal on this champion.
It does absolutely phenomenal work, and a very, very staple pick to go ahead and grab for yourself early on, as it asserts some dominance and does kind of put a little bit of pressure in its own way. And now Maokai getting picked up here as well. And that is a very, that's a pick that's been rising in popularity actually inside the top lane. So be very curious to see how this is going to go, as now Orgless, they're the team that it's like an opposite story of strategy here. This time Snowman isn't picking up their bot lane in first rotation, and Orgless, they're picking up all their bot lane and jungle stuff in this rotation, but Mordekaiser coming in.
Yeah, 3-1 Warrior, phenomenal on the Mordekaiser, but I got to talk about Maokai a little bit here, because you said that, it has been rising in popularity once Ornn is gone, but here's the thing about Maokai, he's gotten all these small little buffs back to back to back, and of course with the Bomby Cinder change, when you CC someone, you get a burst of damage as well. Maokai being one of the great champions to run that Sunfire Cape, and also just being able to kind of scale throughout the lane, of course is going to make sense that Snowman wants, and Uncle Derry loves playing these tanks here. But I love what Orgless is going to be doing. They're going to be banning away the Braum, a great setup for Eric Z Yang on that Graves here, and right now it's looking pretty good. I like Snowman. I like what Snowman's trying to do, set up Eric Z Yang for success, but Orgless, they do have a beat on it.
All right, let's go big Mega Brain here. What if Maokai's support could be the ultimate switcheroo? It does have a decent play rate actually currently. Not so much in the west, but more so over in the east. So it could be an interesting thing to see come out here, as we did just get a game with a Zac support. So could see that Spice going in and flip this entire draft upside down.
I gotta see here, because the thing about Maokai support is that unfortunately I actually don't have a lot of intel on Maokai support. Don't really see it a lot often, don't really see the success of it. The biggest thing though is that I don't think you want to blind pick Maokai support. That's the issue that I have here. If they are going to use it as a flex, it can work out, knowing that Orgless can lock in their support first, but we just have to see where this Maokai is going to go. If you're mentioning Maokai is going to be going support, me personally, I think it's going to be going top. Uncle Derry likes playing Ornn.
It's more than likely top.
Well, more than likely, but
you gotta put that thought in your head,
knowing that Las Vegas has closed on all their casinos here, I understand why you want to gamble a little bit, Travesty.
Sometimes you gotta roll the dice, never look back, and never think twice. But it is the Thresh that is going to be locked in here, and we are going to see the hook guy coming out here, hopefully for Cat Ears, and see what he'll be able to do. Is now Snowman Slammers, what is going to be their pick here, as they have not shown what their bot lane is going to be here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They get the pick of the litter. They know that it's going to be Varus Thresh on the bottom side here. So now Snowman, I'm going to expect them to set themselves up. They did ban away the Nautilus and also did ban away LeBlanc away. That is one of the, skill matchups against Young's Syndra. So definitely respect that as well. Don't want to have a swingy 2v2 that can occur here. But now picking up that Soraka, just making sure that it is going to be that Soraka. Now logging in their last pick here. I don't think it's going to be Corki, but just have to see what happens. Just have to see what Snowman wants to do when it comes to their bottom side draft.
And this Fletz is actually looking pretty disgusting here if they do decide to lock this in. No, it's going to be the Victor. And all of a sudden, you look at this composition and you say, wow, what would be really great against this composition? Grievous Wounds. Wow, what an answer here. As there's a ton of healing from Snowman Slayers. Now Orgless, you're going to be looking to see what they want to grab for themselves. This Mordekaiser still fletzing between the mid and top lane. Could have whatever matchup they want. And Aurelia, being currently hovered, could be the solution.
Yeah, looks like they're going to be locking it in for themselves here. So still solo lane dominated from Orgless' draft. But Snowman flexing everything like what Orgless did in game 1 here. So for some reason, both these teams are just kind of taking each other's draft strategies and replicating it in their own way here. So gonna have to see who's gonna be going on the bottom side. Could be Syndra bottom, could be Victor on the bottom side as well. You do have Soraka, so as long as you don't get hooked, or if you play around the level 6, then you should be a-okay. So gonna be paying attention to that overall here. But with this Irelia possibly being in the mid lane, that means that she is able to get onto Syndra and onto Victor as well. So gonna see what they can do here. Young on the Irelia is looking pretty damn good here overall. One of his comfort champions as well. So see what happens and have to see what Chaos Ruin wants to pilot against that champion.
I 100% agree with you. Syndra, I'm assuming the Syndra's going to go into the bot lane, right? That's just my assumption that I'm going to see. That's where we more commonly see it, just because it can bully out the whatever matchup you usually see down in the bot lane. So really looking forward to seeing that. I love the fact that we're seeing all these mages come into the bot lane and you get all these creative matchups because the pairings with the supports are absolutely nutty. I am sad I don't get to see Maokai support another day, another time. But yet again, this is a very interesting compositions coming out from both sides here with both very unique win conditions and a lot to kind of keep our eyes on here.
I would say Orgless has a more standard win condition overall. Play towards your solo lanes and have utility bottom side to start these fights for you. Knowing that Varus has a chain of corruption and of course those hooks as well. But Snowman, we just have to see what the draft is going to be. Who's going to be going onto that bottom side here? If I'm Chaos Vermin, I do not want to be piloting the Victor in the mid lane because that's a free floss to it. But it looks like he is going to be piloting the Victor in the mid lane. So expect a lot of action around the mid 2v2s here, knowing that City Witty is piloting one of his other comfortable champions on that Kindred, and of course, Young on his tried and true Irelia.
And is going to be dancing with blades and looking to do what they'll be able to do. And I'm going to be just getting everything going. I want to see what these two compositions are going to see. I want to see if what they have in store for us here, because this composition doesn't have the same scaling element as like Kassadin did from the side of Snowman Slammers, and that was a very big win condition that they had. This is such a much more early to mid game. However, their early game was super solid from the side of Snowman Slammer. So I'm going to see if they can transition this. I think that's something I'm really going to keep my eyes on.
A little bit of mistakes from Cat Ears, though, keep in mind. So they did manage to survive and did call out the lane swap early on, though. So that was good on Snowman Slammers when it came to that early game. Because if they didn't, it would have been a pretty tough lane for KS Vermin to deal with 3-1's Aatrox here. One of his more famous champions as well, and when it comes to him and his piloting. But 3-1 on one of his other comfortable champions, the Mordekaiser. Now trying to see if he can take it to the Snowman Slammers here as well. But still, Orgless just got to see what they can do to get this game, because they have to win this game if they want to make sure they're still on the winner's side of this bracket.
Yeah, well, with that being said, you know who I really like? I think there's something, we got this awkward pause here, but it doesn't have to be awkward. It doesn't have to be awkward. Look, you can have a phenomenal keyboard to make it all go away, make the awkward situations go with the wind, And where can you get something like that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, that is at Kono. That's right, baby. You can go ahead and find yourself the perfect keyboard that fits your fingers so perfectly. It'll make you gain elo, get you respect of all your homies that are also playing League of Legends or other esport variant titles, or even if you're not playing any esports title, if you're playing Stardew Valley, that's the hypest stuff that you can possibly do. You know what? Get yourself a keyboard from Kono.store. That is KONO.store. Be sure to check them out. They have a keyboard of all sorts of different kinds of variety, even if you're feeling like a edgy anime overlord or you just want to be a filthy casual normal, you have a keyboard for you. So be sure to check them on out. Yet again, that was Kono.store. That's KONO.store to be able to find the perfect keyboard for you. And we're getting right back into it. We're getting everything situated here, getting all the clickety clackities taken care of as everybody trying to get the gears going and chilling. We're going to take ourselves a short break, and we are going to be right back with game number 2. Don't go anywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it simple. Drop a rock into the water, watch it ripple. Tides turn quick, just keep your head on a swivel. Competition getting stiff, I'm here to make you wiggle. You know me, surround your whole town, make you yell siege. All-star, homie, this the king's speech. You can lock it down, we gon' still preach. Boy, preach. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, get out of your mind. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Who's next in line? Can you make that climb? Now is the time, this world is mine. Raise up the lights, we all here tonight, so let's do it right. Yo, we came here to fight. Boy, you already know I'm the real wonder. Boy, I bring the storm, you gonna feel thunder. So your body count is up there with killmongers. How about you come take a look at some real numbers? Might just double up on you while I still slumber. I'm the living proof.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to UPL Playoffs. We're in round one. We're one game in, one game belonging over to the blue side right now, as we saw Snowman Slammers be able to pick up a game one victory in this best of three. I'm Travis C. I'm joined here with Chillin' Walking. We are seeing a little bit more respect shown here, Chillin'. We are seeing them actually just do a standard 5-point. No cheekiness to be found.
Yeah, of course, we got to take a look at Orgless. They don't want to pull off any shenanigans right now because they do need to win this game to make sure they still have a chance of staying on the winner's side here, because winner of this plays against 100 Thieves next, or the winner of 100 Thieves next, or Red Bluff. Well, actually, I forgot. 100 Thieves did take that FF, so it's going to be First Blood Crusade as well. So the winner of that gets to play against them. So to see what Orgless wants to do if they want to bounce back.
Yeah, and Chillin', I know you have been somebody who's been in the FGC, has seen a lot of the fighting games and whatnot. I know that you are a fan, and I know you know the storyline already. Making your way out of loser's bracket is one of the most difficult things to do, and it is so difficult for any player and a team to have to go through. So neither one of these teams want to go to the loser bracket, but like you said, it's also not the end of the world.
Yeah, loser bracket runs are very tough here. We already saw what happened at Frostbite with MK Leo losing a Prodigy in the early winner side. And anyone who loves Smash, that was a great set. Prodigy taking 3-0. But speaking of an early game fight, Cattiers trying to play Jeremy Chu into it. But now we see the Syndra on the bottom side, of course. Chaos Vermin, he does have to be mindful in this matchup because he could definitely swing over to Young really quickly.
Oh, wait. City Witty is trying to jump into Eric ZA. Is going to use the smite. They're both going to smite. The blue buff Conqueror has gone out.
Blue buff
going to be first blood. Blue buff with the assist. And they are going to be able to get that beautiful invade by City Witty.
See, that's the game where you have to play away the neutral camps here, because that's basically PvE here. Whoever takes the aggro is going to take a lot of damage here. And unfortunately, Eric Z Yang is the one who dies again. Game one, that's what happened to City Witty, now turning back the favor. I guess blue side is taking a lot of this unnecessary RNG happening.
And Caddy is trying to aggress here, but is not level 2. King Vet's actually just got level 2, but you see the damage of the Syndra down here in the bot lane and see exactly why they wanted this pick.
Yeah, 15 CS to 4 now. Jeremy Chu is definitely making sure this pick works here. And of course, you do have Magi with that Soraka as well. King Vex did opt into that lethal temple, so no lane poke coming in as well. But because of that, it means that they're going to have to take a lot of these extended trades. But if that happens, before I get into that, though, Eric Ziyang is already on the top side.
Eric Ziyang looking for something here. 3-in-1 warrior looking to lay out the damage. He's laying out some deeps. He is looking for a kill, and he will find it. 3-in-1 warrior says you need to bring more if you want to tackle with him, as it will be a 1-for-1, but you take those in the gank scenarios.
3-in-1 warriors. Mordekaiser is something that you cannot deal with. It is so hard. He's so good at this champion, giving the second death over to Eric Ziyang. Game one, Eric Ziyang had 6 deaths overall, and the one who had the death lead on their team. So Eric Ziyang now still falling into his ways here. 0-2 now in this early game, so might be a little bit flustered, but if I'm Eric Ziyang, I have to bounce back. I do not want to be the liability on my team.
Not at all, especially when you are the person who first picked your champion here. And it is that Graves that was banned away. And now City Witty looking for something possibly to grab Eric Ziyang. And The big thing to take note of too is the fact that Eric, no red buff because of that invade, because him losing that has put him so far behind. King Bat's taking a lot of damage. Jeremy Chu just blew up your HP bar. Where are you at? Cat Ears, that lantern won't save him.
Yep, and Orgless making sure that these are the habits that's always occurring. For some reason, one of these two end up dying in the laning phase. This is what happened last season as well in the Upsurge Premier League, where one or the other two just get caught out by some way, shape, or form here. Now, King Vix is the one who lose their death here, but still, the gold lead is pretty much on the same track here overall. But the biggest thing now is that bot side lead is in favor for the Snowman, but the jungle favor is now in City Witty. A lot like what happened in game 1.
Lots of deaths to go on around, and we could see a little bit of a turnaround here if they're not careful. They need to respect this threat. She's going to flash on forward. Cat Ears going to be able to find Magi. That's going to be the Knight that's coming on in. The flash being used, and it's going to be a kill. Cleanse being instantly used by Jeremy Chu. Beautiful use of that, but you see this team stay around a little too long and get punished.
Keep in mind, though, Cat Ears was the one who picked up that kill, so unfortunately, King Vex is not going to have a little bit of that gold in his pocket on that reset here, so unfortunate for them in the bottom side, but because of that kill on the bottom side, the Inferno Drake is going to be their main target when it comes to this first Drake here, as you could already see Cat Ears and City Witty already starting it up.
Yeah, they're going to be able to secure that for themselves here in the next little bit. There it is. That is an Infernal Drake. And they will gladly take that. A little bit of extra damage to go on their way as the next Drake to spawn on up is Uncle Derry, taking a good chunk of damage. 3-in-1 warrior. Really, really laying out some hurt up here in the top lane versus him.
Yeah, Maokai is a pretty tanky guy, and also he has a lot of natural sustain with that passive here. Again, got all these small little buffs back to back to back here, and it's one of the reasons why he's rising up in prevalence again as the second best tank in the game, but right behind Ornn here. But in the meantime, you'll see what's happening in the mid side. Both junglers are hovering around the mid lane because his wave isn't looking good for Chaos Vermin.
Isn't looking very good. It's going to be a lot of minions for Yun to jump around, but Twing not going to be able to do anything off of it. Doesn't want to take that huge bit of minion aggro as Chaos Vermin in a tricky spot. And yet again, Soraka is here in the area. They do see him. I don't know if he realized he was seen, and you'd be caught out right here. City Witty looking for a possible catch. That's a beautiful silence to come on in. City Witty click the lantern, he says, he's looking to lay out a little bit more aggression. As Young is over here. They're looking for more action. Magic is in a bad spot. The Ignite comes on in. Eric Z Yang is going on down, and Young picks up the double kill.
Man, Young is so confident on this champion, on his Irelia.
The Tesla is connected. Cat Ears, he's looking for more here. He throws out the lantern. They're going to be able to bring in King Vets. That's going to be a lot of damage to be put back onto him, but no ultimate abilities just yet, so they won't be able to solidify that as a kill.
Man, Orgless now coming back, all cylinders firing, 2-0 on Young here. Another flawless duet landing again. He is so good with this champion, with landing these stuns here. It's the reason why when people play against Young here, they usually ban it against him on blue side as well. But now Young, 2-0 now, has that phase now on the reset, should be picking up another item as well with that Null Magic Mantle to make sure he can survive against Chaos Vermin. But still, Orgless, they're looking pretty damn good off of Young.
Yeah, this is a completely different story. They're looking way, way better and more comfortable with themselves. Young being a little bit more comfortable, not having to swap around between the different lanes and being caught off tempo. And that's a big story to take note of, too, is the fact that if you look at his 5 deaths, those 5 deaths that have came on the side of Snowman Slammers, that's between 2 members of their team. The Graves and the Soraka have been completely just, it's like they downloaded whatever their thought process was and calculated exactly what they need to do to put them behind.
And you already said it, right, Travesty? This Gray's first pick was for Eric Ziang, now sitting 0-3, not getting a lot of value in this matchup. And here's the thing, they have a losing matchup top side, they have a losing matchup mid, they have a winning matchup bottom side, but with 3-1 Warrior and City up top, they're looking for a dive.
Yeah, they're looking for a dive. The lantern is there. 3-in-1 Warrior trying to do what he can. The Lancer Spike comes out a little bit late. City Witty will keep himself alive, but it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade, and Shelly being summoned already over into the top lane. There's going to be a lot falling as the Syndra has to answer. This tower could possibly go on down. Nope. The Syndra will wave clear it, so they will be able to save this tower.
Yeah, but at what cost, right? Because now we take a look at the gold lead here. Already up 2,500 in favor for Orgless. And now this is what Orgless loves to do. Catier's on a roaming champion, but before that, Young going in hard mid.
Yeah, it goes in hard. They have an idea of where Erzi Yang is, too. They know that the mark is there. They already pinged them out. Catier making use of those Moby boots. Here comes the Lantern. Here comes Young. And Erzi Yang in a tricky spot. He gets rooted up. He's stunned up. And he's going to dance with some blades and go on down as King Vets gets himself a kill, as that is going to be Erzi Yang's 4th death.
Man, Erzi is just getting picked on left to right in this jungle here. Catier's with the roam. This is the Orgless that I love seeing here. Catier's going for those roams, playing for those solo lanes, scouting out where that jungler is. And pretty much what happened in game 1, right? City Woody had a beat on Erzi Yang, and now still having a beat on him again. Second Drake has been started up for them. It is going to be the Ocean Drake, but it means that their early game is now going to be heavily in favor for them. As 3-1 Warrior, he's going to be picking up the top turret as well.
Yeah, and I love this from Catier's. Catier's just asserting dominance. This is what I wanted to see from him on the Zac pick. And he says, I'll just play a champion that always does this. I'll play the Thresh, and we'll just make it happen. And has really been putting on one stellar performance here. 104 has participated in 5 out of 7 kills for his team already.
Yeah, flexing his badge right when we talk about him as well, but still, Catier's looking pretty damn good. They found Magi.
Oh, beautiful death sentence to come out. Jeremy Chu will face tank it. Catier's goes down, has that aftershock, so his HP won't go all the way down, but keeps himself just alive. But yet again, just another catch on the rotation of this Soraka. Has not been able to get that wish that they need right now, and has been very much so to their detriment.
3 summoners being picked up in trade for Catier's Flash, so that's pretty damn good. And when the next fight turns around, it's only 12 minutes in, but still 10 kills already happening here. So definitely a fight to the death right now in this early game here. But now sitting in the gold lead, 4K ahead in favor for Orgless. Definitely a change of pace from game 1 going into game 2 here. So this is the Orgless that we all wanted to see. The one that is so confident in the early game, Young on his tried and true Irelia, picking up so many good early kills in the mid lane. Of course, City Witty on one of his more comfortable champions as well. The Kindred 2-0-2 here. I want to take a look at the marks. He's already sitting at 4, but Chaos Vermin might get caught out.
One Warrior says, 1v1 me in my realm, you poor mortal. The claw comes in and it pulls away what Chaos Vermin has left. And now they engage on Jeremy Chu. The damage is there. Can they find it? One more is all they need. And City Witty on a killing spree. They're not done with that. They're not over with that. JK, they are. Soraka going to be able to get out of there. Or is she? Catier's has a present. What's in the box? As magic goes on down.
Oh, man, 3 more kills getting picked up for Orgless. Here's 3-1, picks up the top side with the ultimate, but we have to keep in mind how Vix played that, right? He threw that chain of corruption, then sidestepped to scatter the weak to make sure he didn't get stunned here as City Woody comes in for the backup, but they may have found another one as well.
Yep, here we go. Death Sentence not going to connect, so it's not going to be in a Death Sentence. They're going to have Erzi Yang be able to get that. There comes the TP. They're going to have 2 of them coming on in. That's going to be them trying to jump on in. That's going to be Mordekaiser's going to be coming in the bat side. 3-in-1 Warrior. Now he's in a 3-or-1 fight, but he gets the Lantern and he gets out of harm's way. But City Witty in a troubled situation. He's going to find himself tangled up and rooted up. A shutdown to go over to the Victor. That's just not done yet. And Claderi is going to be trying to jump up. He's going to be able to join the fight. He's going to be able to have a flawless duet of blades. Come on in. Young is on a killing spree, and they're looking for more. Magi, he could use a wish, but he can't find anything for himself. Catier's continuing to pursue. The Death Sentence connects beautifully again, and King Vets is on a killing spree of his own. Young getting jumped onto, trying to turn it around. King Vets will trade it. 2 kills go into Erzi Yang, but a double kill over to King Vets as the chaos just ensues, and nobody gets out of it unscathed.
What a long fight off of an invade from City Witty and Catters to find Eric Ziyang. More bullying onto the Snowman's jungler, but still turns it around with that double TP here. I thought 3-1 Warrior was in a sticky situation, but Young comes in big with that Vanguard's edge, with that flaws. We have to pick up even more kills. And keep in mind, that was before Trinity Force here. Even though there's so many bloodbaths going in here, Eric Ziyang now on the board, it doesn't matter because now you take a look at Young here. He has so much gold in his pocket. And in the meantime, they're still bullying him out with the blue buff take.
Yeah, they are not letting him have an inch, not even a centimeter. It has been rough for him inside this game. And you got to think this is even better for the side of, you look over at the side of Orgless, right? There's only one AD threat on the side of Snowman Slamus, and it is this Graves that's so behind. That makes it very easy for them to build. Look at all the Merc treads they've stocked up on.
Yeah, even though Eric Ziyang picked up double shutdown, the thing is that he hasn't even hit his first item spike yet. Well, in the meantime, Young now has Triforce. King Vix has Blade of the Ruin King as well. So even though the gold lead may have been a little bit smaller overall, the item breakpoints that came through from Orgless now means that they're going to be winning in the next 3 minutes if any sort of fight were to come through here. So that's why it's still a big victory for them, because now they could push any sort of objective that they want because of the item threshold. 3-1 Warrior, of course, already has a Leandri's Torment, now on his way to make a Wits End in the side lane as well. And that's why it's looking so good for them, as Jeremy Chu, he only has a GLP, not a lot of damage on his end as well. So if I'm Snowman, I have to figure out what we can do to make sure Eric Ziyang stops bleeding and make sure our AD carry comes back into this game.
It's going to be a rough time for them to be able to find for this, as Young now over here in the bot side. Uncle Darius sit on out, throws the sapling in the bush, says, "Nah, not today. I got my children to protect me, my young little saplings, and we'll be fine," as he is not going to be fine for very long. Okay, commentator curse to come on in as Uncle Derry getting jumped onto, lots of damage being turned onto him, tangled up thorns, and goodbye, says him as City Woody picks that kill up.
City Woody picking up another mark here, taking a look. He's now sitting at 5 here. Big difference from his performance compared to Eric Ziyang in game 1. Eric Ziyang was only sitting at 3 the entire time, post 20 minutes, while we take a look at City Woody sitting at 5 before the 20-minute mark. That's a pretty damn good threshold right now, as you can already see here. Already has that bonus attack range built in. 75 bonus attack range is nothing to laugh at, as Earth Drake. This is the third one. You already see Orgless having their eyes set for this Drake.
They are wanting to go ahead and grab it, and they said, "We remember what happened when Cloud Drake was the Drake to take." This time, they're looking to put themselves at soul point here as they grab the Cloud Drake for themselves, and that's going to be such a great Drake for them to be able to have if they're able to get the soul.
Yeah, more Lamb's Respites, more Vanguard's Edge, more Chain of Corruptions. You don't want to deal with this with this Cloud Soul here. You know, a lot of people kind of sleep on it, but having these ultimates, having these core parts of fights and these engages more on the table means that Orgless, they just kind of win more kind of game as they look for another hook, but the minion does stop Cat Ears, and unfortunately not going to find a pick on the side lane.
Yeah, not going to be able to find that. So Cat Ears trying to express some dominance here yet again. A lot of defensive vision to actually come out from the side of Snowman Slammers here. As you can see, they have just a straight line cutting through the jungle at the moment.
Yep, good defensive line here. That's good stuff here. That's what you really want to do when you're on the back foot here. Make sure that you're controlling the Raptor ward and making sure that you're controlling the red buff ward as well with that vision here to make sure you catch anyone in transit. As in the meantime, if you have that inside track, you're able to kind of defend both lanes here. But Riftail does get used in the mid lane here. Looks like they have their eyes set on the mid tier too, but you already see Eric Ziyang. He's going to play defense on the bottom side to make sure Young is unable to pressure it. But you already see that mid tier 1 is basically standing gold for Orgless now, and they can take it whenever they want as long as they have a wave and a man advantage approaching it.
And that's very good for them to be able to rotate between. We saw that in the mid game. That's where they looked ever so clean for themselves. And now I really want to keep my eyes on how does the side of Snowman Slammers actually react to this, right? Because they don't have the same scaling component that they had before. But Soraka is a champion that as the game goes on longer, if there's no Grievous Wounds being built, which I don't see any just yet, is going to be a menace that they will have to kind of deal with eventually, sooner rather than later.
keep in mind though, they're all pretty squishy, and right now, Orgless, they do have a very explosive team composition when it comes in the front. But Cat Ears might have gotten caught out.
Cat Ears is in a tricky spot. He can't lantern himself. Scatter of the weak, not going to be able to connect to anybody because Orgless says nobody's weak on this team. Cat Ears now getting jumped onto. Might be looking to make him eat those words. Lancer Spite being used, and Cat Ears will make it out alive. And that is going to be them going for that catch. But look at what they lose for going for a catch on a support.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised what Jeremy Chu is trying to do here. He wanted to use a Scatter of the Week onto City Witty, approaching the banana bush, but unfortunately doesn't get it. So if I was them, just take the free kill on support here, set up the Scatter of the Week, and, you know, get your free goal, because that means you get to stop your bleeding, you get some time in, but instead of that, now you're losing a lot of damage on, a lot of turret health on the bottom tier 2, and even though Cat Ears lose that flash and City Witty lose that Lancer Spite, you know that they're going to be playing relatively safe here, as you can already see here, taking advantage of the opposing resets, meaning that they're going to be taking the mid tier 1, and now they're going to be able to access the map.
They didn't even need the minion wave. We were talking about, they just need a minion wave to grab this thing in gold. Now he's like, nah, son, watch this. Autos it twice, it goes on down. All you gotta do is breathe on it. I want to talk about item builds right quick. Look at Mordekaiser's item build, and look at the item that he just picked up.
Oh yeah, I love it. But before that though, Young.
Wits End.
Honestly, it's actually such a great item because here's the thing: it helps you stack the Conqueror a lot faster. It helps you deal with Mordekaiser, deal with Maokai in the split push as well. And also, take a look at the rest of the roster, right? Chaos Vermin is on an AP, on a magic damage dealer. Jeremy Chu on a magic damage dealer as well. But before that, Orgless, they're already starting up the Baron here 20 minutes in.
Yeah, they found out, wait a second, they are going to catch us out. They don't want to take that fight just yet. It is very, very risky. Do not want to be throwing the game at this point in time. And they say, all right, fair enough. You guys saw us. We'll respect that, as they back it on up and set up for possibly another catch here.
Yeah, bold call from as well. 3-1 War took a decent amount of damage from the Baron, but they may have found someone else.
Soraka is getting hunted down. He is going to find himself flayed, served up, and is going to go on down. And that could be the Baron for the side of Orgless.
Yeah, it looks like they might want to start the pull relatively soon here. You already see Young looking to make a rotation around the mid lane, but instead, looks like Cat Ear is going to see if he can do some fishing, but Young may have found someone else in the mid lane, as Jeremy Chu has to pay some respects. Baron does get started up now, but now Eric C. Yang, level 11 to level 11, he could go in for the smite steal, but look at the vision control that Orgless has right now. They have no idea that this Baron is being taken away, and because of it, it's a 22-minute Baron being taken for Orgless, a 10k gold lead now established for them.
Yeah, and while this is all happening, you saw Chaos trying to push over onto the bot side of everything and try and get something pushing their way, try to get some side wave control, but Orgless looking like a completely different team, really controlling these side waves really beautifully. And now we're going to see a Soul 22 minutes into the game here.
Yeah, that's not good, Trav. See, if I'm a Snowman right now, I'm kind of just, letting him take whatever they want. This is a change of pace here when it came to game 1 and game 2. It looks like Orgless, they try to have their engine going. Unfortunately, it had a little bit of hiccups, but now they got it all fixed up. They're going fast and furious, but if I'm Snowman, I'm kind of just slowing down, and I'm slowing down really damn fast here. This is not the Snowman slammers I want to see here. I want to see him slamming some brakes here, but it looks like they already have, because now 10k gold lead, 22 minutes in, Clouds would already be taken. You might as well just go to next game.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the game isn't over until the Nexus explodes, as we all know. That is the win condition. You have to go for that. But we do have to talk about the fact that with that being done, Elder Drake's the next Drake that's going to be up on the table, and that's a combat mechanic if I ever heard one. So we might be keeping our eyes on that if this game doesn't get closed out. Because remember, this was a weakness that we saw from Orgless in game 1. They got advantages, numerous amount of advantages in the mid game, and didn't capitalize on them. Now, Chaos Vermin getting jumped onto. As I say this, a wish comes through, but Young is still going to be able to fake that. He's taking all the tower shots and a Chaos Storm and is just fine.
See, that's what I'm saying, Travesty, right? When we talk about Orgless, they're now just looking to put the pedal to the metal. They're looking to play fast individually, but now Snowman Slammers, they're just kind of cold on the ice here. And that's the thing. We saw what happened in game 1. They were corralling together. They were playing their win condition of this late game, but now their win condition is kind of lost here. They don't really know who to play for and who can kind of just win the fight here. Because right now they're just looking for hooks. They're taking a lot of poke under the turret. They're just losing everything left and right because right now they have 0 turrets in their name. This is a big change from game 1 into game 2.
Yeah, their early to mid game was what really is something that they have with this composition, and they haven't been able to pull it off. And you're seeing what happens when that happens. Now we're seeing the 1v2 over in the scenario, but it is just 3-in-1 warrior. He's looking for another kill to come on in. The redemption comes through. He doesn't need your filthy help, he says. He flashes out of there, and inhibitors are being taken left and right as the HP bars are so low. The scatter the wheat not connecting. Unleash power will do some damage, but it's not quite enough as Catier's looking for yet another hook, the only member of his team not to die here.
What a change of face from the Snowman Slammers here. Game 1, they were fighting tooth and nail. Game 2, they're just kind of dying here. 25 minutes in, 14k goal lead in favor for Orgless here. And again, credits to Orgless because they played this game almost entirely immaculately, right? A little bit of a mistake from IKMX dying in solo lane by himself here. A little bit of over-aggression, limit testing, if you will. Giving some credit to them, but still, 18-6 here, having all the dragons, all the Baron, and the only Baron on the table, and 9 turns to 0. This is a near perfect game when it comes to just objectives overall.
I want to point out something that the Mordekaiser just bought a Nashor's Tooth.
That's right. That's right. I respect that 3-in-1.
This is a lot of attack speed on a Mordek. He is swinging that mace so fast.
Oh, yeah, man. That's what I want to see, man. He's going on steroids. Man, I talked about Fast and Furious. Man, this is what he wants to do. Smack someone in the face, whack him down, and whoever I bring into the death realm, you know that is going to be a gigantic mace in the face when I take you down. And, man, you already see Uncle Terry. I'm pretty sure the Snowman are kind of, just having fun here. You already see him. Probably
there's a surrender.
There it is.
Yeah, that is a surrender to come on in there, and they are just going to go ahead and surrender it. They're not going to play for the late game. They're not going to do anything like that. They already say, hey, this has been a little bit of a harder game for us, so let's take the moment to reset and recite what our goals are here. And this is a 1-to-1 series here to start off our playoffs, man.
I mean, that was a fast game from Orgless, right? Because it was 25 minutes in. Any last push would have already taken it. Baron buff was already coming back up as well in the next minute as well. So, if I was them, I would have forfeited as well, because with that early game, with that mid game that occurred, with Young just popping off, getting that Triforce as well, and getting their 1-item spikes before Snowman were to even get theirs, it was a pretty tough game overall, especially when it came to their composition, because this game heavily dependent on their bottom side, off of their bottom side, off of Jeremy Chu and Magi, making sure they win the 2v2s, and of course, off of Eric Ziyang playing towards that bottom side as well and farming. But look what happened in that level 1. City Witty takes the first blood in a jungle 1-on-1, of course, with the help of the blue buff, but now tracking him down. Eric Ziyang just got bullied around it as well.
We have to look at City Witty. And I love the fact that you bring up him, because I feel like he was the most pivotal player, because look at the damage. It's a completely opposite story when you look at Eric Z Yang on Kindred and then you look at City Witty on Kindred. City Witty is definitely showing up as the big jungler inside of this series. And I think a lot of eyes are going to remain on him and Eric Z Yang. The question is, you called him Feast or Famine in game right before we got into game 1. And we have not been able to see him feast on anything here just yet. And that's kind of a little bit of an issue, I would say. This City Witty is creating so many openings for Orgless.
I mean, and at the end of the day, it just kind of comes down to the draft too, right? That's the reason why you don't really see a Graves being first picked as well, because you want to see if you can set up some winning lanes, or you want to see if you can flex around these champions overall. Snowman did have a winning lane on the bottom side, but unfortunately got corralled on when it came to the mid and the top lane here, because when Eric Ziyang threw his first gank here, he died because of that gank here, going 0-2 before the 5-minute mark. And that definitely is going to impact your mental state. You're going to have a lot of mental toughness to bounce back and to make sure your teams can help you out, because when you die like that, especially clearing your top side, going to the top lane, and unfortunately losing your bottom side as well, it's going to get pretty tough here. And that's the thing about the team here. And we have to take a look at what happens in this third game here. Game 1, Eric Ziyang got caught off a little bit here, but still did his job when it came to the team. But now going to game two, Eric Zan was also the one who kind of dropped the ball a little bit in the early stages. So have to see what's going to happen in game three if he can bounce back. Because I know this guy personally. He's definitely a pop off player. I just want to see him pop off again.
Yeah, well, we're gonna have to see if that is going to be the scenario because instead, Orgless is looking like they're the team that's looking to pop off with a complete turnaround from cat ears and all this other stuff. We have to see because game three is coming right up, and that is going to decide which one of these teams get to stay in the ever so beloved winners bracket or have to fall down to the losers bracket and have that climb back up to the peak. Well, with that being said, Chillin, I think you and me, we need to take a moment to breathe, right? Because that was it was a shorter game, but still just as intense. We could feel the bloodlust from all the way over here. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a break. Be sure not to go away as game three is coming up. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on back to Upsurge. We are getting into our final game here of this first round of playoffs. It's crazy to say that because this has been such a back and forth series here. My name's Travis D. I am joined here with the man with the moves. It is the caster with his new groove, Chillin' Walk, and we are getting chilling. We are getting into some craziness here as we're going into game 3.
Yeah, a little bit here because we already saw what happened game 1, 40-minute game from Snowman Slammers taking it against Orgless. But man, Orgless, they came back fine. They came back with revenge. 25-minute game, forcing a surrender. You know, that's what I talk about revenge, man. If you want to make sure your enemy loses, make sure they bend down to their knees, and that's what happened.
Yeah, you take a knee and go ahead and hit that FF key as what they ended up saying there. Didn't even want to wait for the Elder Drake to spawn as it was a very dominating performance coming out. Now we're going into game 3 here, and we have to kind of look at what do we have here in front of us between these. Game 1 with a lot of scaling in their pocket. Game 2, we saw the just complete game control coming out from Orgless. What are we going to be looking at from both these teams now that they've kind of felt each other out between 2 games and are going to come clashing against each other with all of their knowledge that they've gained?
Yeah, so right now, when we talk about Snowman Slammers, of course, they like to play heavy topside, right? So if I'm Orgless, I'm going to looking to see what they want to pick up if I were to take away those 2 tanks of the Orn and the Maokai away. But keep in mind that we talk about the red side. Kindred and Varus were picked both times on the red side, so maybe a little bit more value when it comes over to those 2 champions who are not that, maybe from the 80 carry here. So maybe a rise of those priorities coming in when it comes to the draft overall into game 3, or else sometimes these teams like to throw something out of the window and do their own thing here, as Orgless going to be approaching picks and bans here, and we're going to see a lot of the same ones coming in as Orn is removed from the table from Uncle Derry.
Yeah, not giving that over to him. He has shown way too much prowess on said champion as Yuumi is instantly fired on off as well. Not trying to deal with that kitty cat down there in the bot lane. And Aurelia now getting an adaptation as we just saw so much prowess from Orgless on that as Senna gets banned on blue side this time around.
Yeah, that was a fast ban as well. It looks like they don't want to play the Senna, or if not that, just not deal with it overall. So I'm definitely surprised. Usually game 1 and game 2, Orgless did ban away the Cassiopeia from Chaos Vermin, so that is going to be on the table for him now if he wants to pick it up. So that's going to be an open one. Silas being banned away means that Rumble is potentially on the table now. No counter picks available, but now Young picking one of his best champions here on that Syndra was taken away from the Snowman Slammers. Now he has his hands on it. Going to see what he wants to do when piling in the mid lane.
Very strong champion indeed, and we could be seeing it in the mid lane like you were talking about with Young being so proficient at the champion. We did see it over in the bot lane with pretty good success still from the Snowman Slammers, but now it's going to be Varus getting picked right back up. Hey, 100% pick rate over here on the red side. First rotation yet again, and this time we're getting some Graggy Ice to go along with this game.
Yeah, and this is the thing about Varus, and this is what I like about drafts going into game 1, game 2, and game 3. A lot of these things develop and these things change over time when it comes to the draft here. As you can already see, City Witty locking in the Olaf here. A great matchup into the Gragas here. So you got to see what Snowman Slammers wants to do. They do have that Gragas. They do have that Gragas Yasuo on the table for them, especially against Young here, and a good matchup for the Yasuo overall. I'm just not too sure if Chaos Vermin can actually pilot the Yasuo in this game here, but instead Orgless going to be locking in Ezreal for King Vex here. A solid pick for him as well, knowing that they love playing topside. Tiders loves roaming 4-3-1 and for Young as well. So pick the 80 carry that loves to be in the lane 1v2.
I love it too because of the fact of this Ezreal will be able to deal with some of the shenanigans that we saw from Varus, keep himself safe and be able to keep range as well. And you know what? It's time unbenched to Kench, baby. It is Tom Kench coming back again. We saw him in game 1 with great effect, and now we're seeing some of these champion pools be limited down.
Yeah, Mordekaiser being banned. 3-1 Warriors, one of his best champions in the top side, Aatrox and Mordekaiser are his big comfort too. He loves playing these Juggernaut champions, and I did talk about that Yasuo. It's a good matchup in the Syndra. Young wants no part of it as they do ban it away here. And honestly, I think that is a little bit of a mistake from Snowman Slammers if they want to get that Yasuo Gragas, mid 2v2 duo coming in. But I think that just means that maybe Chaos Vermin isn't so comfortable when it comes to piloting it. But Orgless, they don't want to take that gamble. They're getting rid of it.
Yeah, I can completely respect that as well. And you see the Aatrox being taken off the table as well. They're not trying to give any powerful lane bullies or anything like that over to the side of Orgless after they saw what he's been able to do on the Aatrox and Mordekaiser. Zed being currently hover banned here could lock that one on in. It will be locked in, and now it's up to Snowman Slammers. What are they going to lock in for themselves?
I'm not too sure. The Zed ban is definitely unorthodox here, just avoiding the assassins and the counters here. Usually you see a LeBlanc being banned away, but I think Young is able to take that 50-50 matchup and swing it over to his side, so I definitely respect that. We talked about Mordekaiser and Aatrox, 3-1 Warriors, 2 comfortable top laners, but here's the thing, 3-1 Warrior definitely has another champion up in his sleeve, and looks like Snowman Slammers, they're going to be picking the Nautilus as a flex pick, and if it is going to be in the mid lane, I definitely enjoy this answer.
Yeah, it could be, and this is a pick that has a little bit of mystery to it. We actually have seen a play rate of Nautilus with the Bomby Cinder buff actually rise in the top lane, so we could possibly see it over there as well. And this Gragas is technically something that could get flipped around, not typically happen. Ooh. But a Pike to be the answer here gives a lot of power, and it's Nautilus as well. It's going to be very interesting to see how this Pike is going to relay here.
Yeah, and I love this pick at the end of the day, right? Because Pike is such a slippery champion. It's so hard for Varus to actually lock down the champion as well. And of course, Ezreal is able to 1v2 the lane, knowing that Tahm Kench isn't really going to be pressuring the lane as much here. So I like this pick of what Orgless is doing, sticking to their game plan, playing towards the top side, picking a roaming support that can help out 3-1 and Young here. You see the champions that they're piloting. It's a Renekton for 3-1 and a Syndra for Young here. So if they get the ball rolling here, they can definitely carry the game at the end of the day.
I love this pick too because of the fact that the Blade of the Ruined King changes that have happened recently from melee champions. Renekton is so good at being able to apply that, with him actually looking to just shove out the wave and what he'll be able to do. But a Ziggs to get locked into champion that's seen a little bit more love here as of recent. And Snowman Slammers, they're going to be looking to slam down some bombs.
Yeah, taking a book out of Five Fire, of course, well-known mid laner, played for Evil Genius, ran the Ziggs in the Academy games here. So, gonna have to see what he can do here. Great wave clear as well. So, definitely a champion that can stall out the game. And Snowman Slammers are ones that love stalling out the game, so they can push it to the later stages, so they can win when it comes to these late game team fights. So, definitely like this pick here overall. As long as Chaos manages to survive, he should be A-okay.
I feel like that's a good thing to look at, is as long as he's able to survive. But I really am going to be looking at them to be able to have some sort of proactivity, because now we've seen what Orgless is awakened, at least in Game 2. If they're staying into their Game 2 form, you can't plan on just surviving. You have to thrive on the mistakes that Orgless does make in a lot of these rotations and whatnot, and find ways to get the Ziggs to visit each one of these outer lanes, get those turrets popped. That satchel charge is such a fantastic ability. I really want to see Snowman Slammers be very proactive about the way they go into this. Maybe not in the early game, but definitely when we get into this mid game and see them try and find themselves. Because look at how chunky their front line is, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 3 big tanks here. Got the Gragas, got the Tahm Kench, and then also, of course, Gragas usually is now building magic damage now. Does have the keg to make sure he has a little bit of damage resistance. But the biggest thing, though, is that these defensive plays that what Snowman Slammers have when it comes to their composition, like Tahm Kench to save one person, the Gragas explosive cast to stall out these fights, and of course, the Mega Inferno Bomb from Chaos Vermin will be able to stall out fights on the side lane as well. So expect Snowman Slammers to play this defensive style that they did in Game 1 to stall out these games, and then look for the re-engage of their toolkits with the Chain of Corruption, with the Body Slam, with the hooks from Magi. So those are gonna be the big things to keep in mind if I'm Orgless, because if these things go haywire, if my offensive plays gets blocked, it means that Slammers are able to buy time. So a lot of replication from Game 1. Can Orgless finish this game fast? Can Slammers slow the game down?
it does draw into that question, and I feel like we're going to definitely get an answer here when we get into game. And I want to also see Jeremy Chu. I'm curious. He was the person that broke out the lethality Varus in game 1. We saw the lethal tempo Varus coming out from King Vets. And we also saw a lot of different things from the side of Orgless, where Cat Ears has been doing those rotations that we thought he was going to do with the Zac. Instead, he did it with the Thresh. Now he has Pyke, a champion who's even faster at being able to rotate. And like you said, very, very slippery. I'm going to be keeping my eyes down here on Cat Ears and Jeremy Chu respectfully because of this, because they were such high impact players, both in game 2 and in game 1.
Yeah, you talked about lethality. Varus did see game 1, and Jeremy Chu did pump out the most damage here, 33,000 overall when it came to it at the end of the 40-minute game. But when we talk about lethality, it honestly does work, right? You have a lot of squishy members from Orgless. Olaf isn't a traditional tank by any means, so you could definitely chunk him down and poke him out before a fight were to break out. But the issue about, if you ran lethality Varus is confirming those kills, right? You can do a lot of damage and get him really low, but who's going to be the one who can finish him off? So that means you're going to be depending on sniping him out, landing those bombs, landing those arrows. And if you can, it definitely works out. So it's going to be on Jeremy Chu on how he wants to pilot it. Either way, it definitely works out. So just have to see what they want to do.
Yeah, I agree. It comes down to the way they decide they want to play the game. Uncle Derry, now he's played 3 different tanks over here in the top lane. He has gone to his champion pool, Ornn, Maokai, and now revisiting a strong pick that used to be up there in the top lane, the Nautilus. Did see a couple of nerfs that took him out of the top lane role for a reason, but with the Bomby Cinder and whatnot coming back in, is a champion that's found some love. And Renekton, another champion, found an item buff that has brought him back a little bit more. I think that the Blade of the Ruin King is absolutely just too good on him right now to pass up, especially in any 1v1 matchup. And it draws into the question, 3-in-1 warrior. This is a person who really makes it to where he demands that you put resources in him, or he will run wild with a game.
Yeah, you already talked about the Blade of the Ruin King. You have 3 tanks here, or 3 frontliners that definitely duel out and can be a good split push threat in the later stages of the game as well. So I'm gonna have to see what 3-1 Warrior wants to do here, but he loves these juggernauts. He loves playing these bruisers to get some resources and then bounce back and help his team here. Loves going for those pinches. So Orgless, they have the momentum going into game 3. Let's see if they can finish it off with a clean finish.
Now, with that being said, we're going to take ourselves a short break, but ladies and gentlemen, be sure not to go anywhere, as we are going to be right back after we talk about Midwest. Midwest is a phenomenal organization to actually talk about and really be able to jump into everything when it comes down to local tournaments and whatnot. And when you look at what they're able to provide, they provide the finest competition for anybody locally right now. If you want to be able to find a competition near you, more than likely you can find Midwest associated with it, because it's going to be a big success. Be sure to check them on out. They started off as a group of students, and now they are out here just teaching everybody what it means to actually throw down at your favorite esports conventions. So be sure to check them out. And after that, we're going to take a short break, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting right into the game here. It's UPL. We are getting into the action. It is hot. It is furious. My name is Travis. Sorry, my client freaked out for a moment there as we are getting right into the game here. As we are probably need to resync for a quick moment as spectator client just decided it wanted to just go nuts on me. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back to UPL. Technical difficulties aside, spectator client decided it wanted to speed me up about 30 seconds into everything, and I was just like, wait a second, I'm seeing the future here. But we are back into the game. We're all synced up. My name is Travis. We're in game 3, and I'm joined here with Chillin' Walking Chillin'. Already, we are seeing some shenanigans. We were talking about how these teams respecting each other. There's no respect to be had in game 3.
I mean, that's what happens when you have City Witty on Olaf, right? And you have Young on that Syndra and 3-on-1 on Renekton. You're going to go for that invade. You're going to have to see if you can push out Eric Ziyang away from the top side because you have a Renekton. You're going to play for it. City Witty and Orgless, they're making the right call with that early invade.
Yeah, I believe so as well. Didn't get too terribly much out of it. Didn't get any sums for themselves, unfortunately for them. But hey, they did get to assert a larger message, which is their dominance that they're looking to put forth inside of this game 3. And chill, Matt, we gotta look down at the bot lane again. Jeremy Chu, we already talked about it a little bit. Has that comment again? Are we about to see that lethality coming in?
Yeah, it looks like we have a Junkrat and a Widowmaker in this game. We're playing some Overwatch as these two are going to have to nail some kills with their weapons here. A lot of poke damage can definitely get them really low, but they're going to have to see if they can confirm as Magi taking a lot of heat on the bottom side, but still with this vertical jungling from City Witty on the top side, pushing Eric Ziyang away onto the bottom means that topside is going to have a lot of control here, but look at that ward that they placed on the defensive end. City Witty, he had a read on game 1 and game 2 on Eric Ziyang. They might have a read on him again.
Yeah, they're looking to go for the collapse here. You see the Ziggs trying to make sure he's going to be fine. Young now getting turned around onto, going to throw a barrel at him, not that they're going to be able to pick up for themselves, and just going to bat that one on up and keep Eric safe and sound.
However, he did lose that red buff in the meantime, so he's going to be down. He is going to be down and get triple buffed from City Witty here. This is the story about the early game so far from all 3 games here. Even though game 1, Orgless did lose, City Witty still had a bead on him when it came to the just the overall jungle clear path. At the end of the day here, game 1, he invaded at the red, fought a one-on-one. Unfortunately, Krugs helped out Eric Ziyang in that one-on-one, but in the meantime, your 3-on Warrior and Derry, they're duking it out.
Yeah, they're duking it out, but Uncle Derry is taking the worst end of that trade. 3-in-1 Warrior really laying the deeps on him thick as Catty is returning back to the bot lane. But it is yet again the story. 3-in-1 Warrior always finding a way to make these trades turn around in his favor.
Yeah, that's the thing about Renekton, right? When you have all that, when you have a full bar of Fury here, you're going to heal a lot up from the Cult of Meek. So you're going to have to be mindful here. In the meantime, Cattiers may have found a hook. And
yeah, that's the night going on Magi. Lots of damage being put onto him. He is going to be fine, it seems, as, Chaos getting dunked by some balls there. Is not enjoying that whatsoever. As there is a bit of action going on here. Olaf has invaded. He's taking the chickens. The minefield is laid out. He is caught in a tricky spot. Flash been blown. Flash is on forward. It's a bomb to get it. And it is a first blood going over to Chaos Vermin. Now, over on the bot side, Magic Vermin taking a lot of damage. It does need to be very, very careful as Cattiers is looking for something possible. He is going to look for that skewer. Not going to be able to connect with it as both flashes from the supports are used. And they are going to disengage this one.
Yeah, we have to talk a little bit about that invade of what occurred from City Witty, right? Eric Ziyang now had a beat on City Witty of what you want to go for, but in the meantime...
Bone Skewer, Magi, he's going to find himself going on down. That's the stun connecting. Jimmy is in such a bad spot. He flashes over the alcove to try and pick up the kill, but all he does is die in vain.
Oh my god. Now Orgless now coming back. This is the first time we see bot side from Orgless actually win the 2-on-2. And keep in mind, both kills as well. Game 1, Cat Ears dropped the ball a little bit. Game 2, Fix died once in the laning phase as well. So now they have signs of life. Now you have a winning lane on the bottom side. And now Cat Ears with that kill buys mobility boots. He's going to be looking to move around the map now.
Yeah, and 3-1 Warrior staying fairly low, actually, fighting against Uncle Derry. He really needs to respect this. Nautilus's base damages are nothing to sneeze at. And Uncle Derry's looking for the solo kill. He gets him with the hook. He flashes in a straight line, and Uncle Derry says, "You forced my hand," and takes his life. Now it's Cat Ears looking for the kill on the Magi yet again. That catfish, he got a thick old hitbox, and he's going to find himself getting punished. He pops the gray health, gets the shield, but Young is going to pop him all the same.
Man, this is a game of reversals because 3-1 dies on the top side, but in the meantime, 3-1 still putting a lot of damage, but unfortunately is unable to get the kill. Cat Ears wants to look for some more.
Yeah, but he made a mistake. He didn't know Gragas was there. Now Cat Ears is in a tricky situation. The teleport is coming in from the Ziggs down here in the bot side. They're looking for it. Jeremy Chu picks up the kill on the Cat Ears as a Mega Inferno Bomb goes and takes a lot of HP. But while this is all happening, a Mountain Drake secured by City Witty.
Yep, City Witty managed to take it in, but keep in mind, 6 deaths in, 6 minutes in the game. This minute, a kill a minute so far in this game here. Both teams slugging it out as 3-1 Warrior. You're level 6, but I'm not sure if you do want to fight Uncle Derry, as he does have the Bomby Cinder.
Yeah, he is laying out the damage, fighting him inside the minion wave like that, and this Renekton not having a fun time. He's got all these swords, but that little flame is all it takes to really make him feel the pain.
Forcing that dominance is going to be pretty big here, meaning that he's not going to be able to fight him in the one-on-one, and of course can easily get dove as well if Uncle Derry managed to get the push here. But we have to take a look at the CS lead right now because Orgless, they do have a great victory across the board. 54-39, 61-45, and 54-37. So even though there's a lot of action going on so far, Orgless have been on the book when it comes to just making sure they're able to secure the easiest source of gold, which is through the minions right now. But City Witty has a beat on Eric Z Yang again, going for that invade. They want to fight over this red buff.
They are going to be able to. I'm not sure if he actually was able to secure it, as Jeremy Chu actually gets jumped in by a bone skewer, and lots of damage being traded back onto him. Again, the True Shot Barrage only going to be able to hit on the Magi. But Jeremy Chu still takes a missed shot as he exits his mouth.
Has that Sheen as a first item buy, one of the best items to get on your first reset, and one of the most gold efficient ones as well. If you're Ezra, you should always be resetting for that Sheen. Never reset on a tier, because if you do, your laning presence is pretty much near useless at that point. So good on him. You can already see those Mystic Shocks doing a ton of damage. As meantime, more plates going in. Cat Ears looking for a hook.
Yeah, he is going to find it. Jeremy Chu getting jumped onto. Lots of damage being put onto him. They're going to look to turn this on around, and Cat Ears is going to be punished yet again for his aggression.
Yeah, making another mistake like what happened in game 1. He went in not seeing that Jeremy Chu is 6, and then gets punished for it right after. So now sitting at 2 deaths, even though Cat Ears, they did win that one-on-one. Now it's kind of costing him, biting him in the back here. So have to see what they can do as Magi and Jeremy Chu. Now they have lane dominance, and Eric Zhang is around the corner.
Yeah, Predator has been popped, so King Vets does know that there is a Gragas explosive casket is going to come on out. They're looking for it. The dive, he gets the snipe, and they're going to be able to find it. Magi going to go on down. Cat Ears finds a kill on the back end of it. No execute for him, and Herald has been taken over towards the top side. Uncle Derry under his tower. Uncle Derry sat on a log. Uncle Derry, oh no, you need to get the hell out of there. 3-1 Warriors looking for blood, and City Witty will secure it. Now Jeremy Chu's going to get jumped onto in the bot lane. Death comes from below, and shutdown goes over to Cat Ears.
Man, Orgless are now swinging back on both sides here. We talked about that CS lead. We talked about the laning presence of what Orgless is doing. You already see all these plays being taken from the top side and the mid here, and that's why City Witty is now making it work here. Gotta take a look at the gold right now, because look at City Witty. Even though he died once in laning phase, he's 35 CS ahead. You know, 1.5K ahead in that lane as well, and that's what's making it work. 3-1 Warrior getting a lot of resources for his team, almost barely taking out the top tier 2 as well.
Yeah, it's it's just like looking at this dominance that's coming out here at the very beginning. We saw this earlier on in game 2, and I feel like this is something that is the deja vu that they did not want to feel here. Oh, wait, the flash forward play, Maggie with the scuttle. He found it delectable and used his flash to grab it. Gotta say, the hero play coming in.
I'm not too sure if that's worth for your flash, my man. 305 gold. I'm not sure you're trying to flex it or not. Maybe you want to limit test and say I'm the better support, but yeah, I
got a message.
But now here's the thing: if that flash is gonna cost him, it's gonna cost him the next 5 minutes because City Witty, he is on the bottom side. He could definitely look to punish Magi.
I don't think I've seen a top catch flash forward for the scuttle crab before like that. So I'm stoked. Magic just showing his dominance, showing them why they call him the catfish. He is absolutely bamboozling cat ears by letting them think that he could possibly even come close to having that. Now, Derek sitting up here. Death Brush strat has been initiated down here in the bot lane.
They call Magi a catfish, but cat ears is the one who has all the hooks. So I'm not too sure what's going on. They both like playing in the water as well. But in the meantime, Orgless, they are in the enemy jungle.
Yeah, and Ares ain't not going to get hit by the Bone Skewer. Does pop the Predator. Is going to be able to find that site. The Flash comes in from Chaos Vermin to keep himself alive as 3-in-1 Warrior. Has a beautiful rotation. With that top tower gone, he is free to roam the map as he pleases.
This is what 3-in-1 Warrior loves to do.
Got here. She's going to be able to get the stun onto the Tom Kitchen. Flash over for the Thomas. Ares Yang, where did you go?
Man, he just got deleted off the map. The alligator finds a bite. Actually, I think it's a crocodile, but regardless, they're going to be looking for another dragon as Uncle Derry, he's going to be putting pressure on the top side, but at what cost? Now still ballooning out of control. 2 dragons to 0 now, and you can already see him looking at, they have the sights on the mid side.
Oh, wait, here they're looking for it. The stun is going to be able to come out. They're going to unleash power. And crikey, mate. 3-in-1 Warrior finds himself another kill. And now they're looking to turn their attention down here to the bot lane. Jeremy Chu's already been able to find one target. But that is all they will find as King Vets goes down. Cat Ears will survive.
They are on the run. Bot side, Jeremy Chu is 4-2 here. So now he's going to be the win condition for the Snowman. But now look at Cat Ears. He's around the mid lane. He has the death from below. They are going to take another plate and they're going to back off. But 3-in-1 Warrior with this gold lead, he's going to be looking to take it down against Uncle Derry.
Yeah, and 3-in-1 Warrior trying to jump onto Uncle Derry. Uncle Derry is not able to do much. Here comes the death from below. Cat Ears trying to use that as a way to dash, but it's just going to get shut down. Is going to feel bad for him as Uncle Derry is running for his life. Beautiful flash to come in there. City Witty looking for something possible. He is going to go ahead and smite Uncle Derry. He's one tanky boy. Do you have the numbers? Do you have the resources? Mega Inferno Bomb. Uncle Derry is one tanky beefcake, and he won't go down.
Man, this game is looking like a script. Both these teams are pretty much just throwing themselves at each other to see if they can get any sort of kill here. But unfortunately, because of Eric Ziyang with the backup, takes the double kill to help out Uncle Derry. Uncle Derry, the Mega Inferno Bomb wasn't even needed. It was just a cherry on top, but still 1 turret to 0. Both these teams slugging it out here. 17 kills in before the 20-minute mark. That's so much fighting from both these teams. They really want it, or else they're really having a lot of fun.
I have to say, you were talking about it game 1, and I'm going to use your phrasing. Testing their limits is definitely what I'm feeling when I'm watching this game right now. These two teams really smashing each other against one another, seeing which one is going to break. And that is what a game 3 and a best of 3 in playoffs will do to two teams.
But still, there's still a 2.5K gold lead in favor for Orgless right now. A lot of plates in favor for them as well, as only 1 plate left here. But Cat Ears playing the enemy territory. This is what Pyke loves to do. Sit in these bushes, place these wards around here. He's going to be looking to get this the glaive as well. And once he gets that, a lot of it's going to be going in. But Chaos Vermin, he's getting caught.
He is caught. He is gone. That satchel charge isn't going to do anything but signalize the extinguished life. And Chaos Vermin is just not having a great time with Renette and basically ganking his lane over and over again.
Man, 3-1 Warrior is so great at just moving around the map and just pinching and making sure he can play these flanks. Game 1, he was one of the main reasons why the game went well, approaching the 15 to 20 minute mark. These back-to-back team fights are just flanking over and over again. Still doing the same thing as well, making sure he's pinching, making sure he's moving around the map. The vision control on the top side is all because of him and City Witty. So because of that, Chaos Vermin is getting pressured here. This pick on the Ziggs isn't having a lot of value as of yet, but King Vex in this 1-on-2 against the lethality of ours, he's gonna have to back off.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. He gets caught by one stray arrow, and that could be it. Eric Z Yang is looking for blood. Now we're going over to the top side. Uncle Derry looking for a hook. Not going to be able to connect that onto the bite. Chaos Vermin uses his astral charge already. And over in the mid lane, there's a tower just taking a hunky-dunky beating. Now on the bot side, Jeremy Chu going to be able to secure that tower, but they have 3 men down here. Chaos Vermin stunned up again. Scatter the weak. They must fall. Chaos Vermin barely able to survive the Ignite, and we'll be able to live to tell another tale. Wait, look at the mini-map. The True Shot Barrage Chaos Vermin. You need to get the hell out of the way. King Max picks him off with the snipe as he walks back to the base.
You know, I mentioned that the Snowman slammers are gonna have to snipe everyone out to get those kill confirms. I'm pretty sure King Vex is the one who's playing CS:GO right now with the because that was a snipe from downtown, baby. Getting another kill in. They have Drifter on deck as well, and now they're going to put the pressure in this game here. And if I'm Chaos Vermin, I got to be a little bit tilted right now.
The funniest thing about that is that there was a Tom Kench right beside him. But the Tom Kench was probably looking at some other place in the map and was not paying attention to what was right beside of him. That is the worst feeling there. And, oh, man, that can create so many different factors inside of a best of 3 where tilt and all this other stuff can be a thing. Now City Witty looking to see if he can tilt him with his axe. He's going to be going in there with the Ragnarok. Arzy Yang dropped down so very low. He's going to find a lot of damage going on to him. City Witty is still alive, and well, Jeremy Chu, not so much. The 3-in-1 warrior finds one. He's looking for a possible second one. He has that dominance enabled. That charge is going to be going on to him. Lots of damage being put in there. That is going to be able to pick up the kill onto Chaos Vermin, and the True Shot Barrage not going to be able to connect, but it will be enough damage for Young to go on a killing spree. And now it's just a catfish put out to drown, and cat ears going on over and picking that kill for himself. Ocean Drake to be claimed, and this game is just chaos embodied.
Man, Travis, yeah, I gotta talk about that fight real quick because there are a lot of small interactions that occurred that led up to the victory of that fight overall. Because City Witty went straight in on Eric Z Yang, activated the Ragnarok, soaked that exhaust, and of course sidestepped the Chain of Corruption as well. Those are 2 crucial spells that were now with that because of that 3-in-1 warrior managed to get into the back line, assassinate Jeremy Chu, and of course Young at the back end, stopping the reinforcements from Chaos Vermin from coming in. The Scatter Week stuns him right into a wall. The burst comes in immediately, and because of that, both damagers are immediately gone. So that's some great team fight coming in from Orgless and coming in from the top side of the map. Like, these are the reasons why Orgless is such a great top side heavy team here. Young 3-0-4, sitting on so much gold, has a Twin Shadows ready as well. And of course, 3-in-1 Warrior has a gigantic CS lead, 50 CS ahead right now, and a lot of plates in his pocket right now as well. 7K gold lead in favor for them, 18 minutes in.
It's absolutely disgusting. I love the fact they went for the Twin Shadows. They just picked that up, and I love it because it just secures even more. Like this catch onto Vermin. Satchel Charge will be able to keep him alive. Maybe he's getting dunked by some axes, but it's going to be the Tom Kench keeping him alive, and City Witty overcommits, and here comes the depth charge. Going to be able to use that on cat ears. Unsure if that was the target they want to use that ability on. They're looking for more. Not going to be able to get the snipe this time. Magic's going to find himself getting caught out. That's a lot of damage being put onto him. He pops the gray health, but it isn't going to be enough. 3-in-1 warrior. He's now in the midst of it all. He's dropped down so critically low. The Scatter the Weak is going to be able to get the stuns that they need. Jeremy Chu not going to be able to find his target. 3-in-1 warrior turns it around. That from below, a double kill is coming in, and Jeremy Chu goes on down.
Man, 3-in-1 Warrior played in and out of that fight so well here. He almost went down, then comes right back in to stun up Uncle Derry to give Young some help here, and then Catier's coming in from the flank to secure all 3 members who are so low for the death from below here. Now 8-3 and 4, ballooning the gold lead here as well. I got to take a look at the gold lead because when you're Catiers and when you're playing Pyke, you could take a look at the gold lead and how much you balloon for the entire team. Take a look at that, 8K in his pocket here, and we take a look at Magi sitting at 4.6 here. That's gigantic. He has almost as much gold as his AD carry, more gold than his jungler here, and now this is the reason why Pyke may work so well, especially when you're playing towards your solo lanes. You're giving them so much income. You're giving yourself so much income, so now they're able to kind of run around circles and run around in this jungle here as now approaching an 11K gold lead at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, and it's if you were talking about it earlier, Catiers, you were talking about how topside heavy this team plays so well on towards the top side of the map. Catiers exemplifies it because once he's able to start rotating, he enables so much for his team, and him on a wily pick like this is so good. Now Baron is getting going and gone, and there's no way for them to be able to check this. They don't have any vision on it. It's under half HP. This is going to be a free Baron actually for the side of Orgless.
And you can't really face check it either because you know that Catiers is going to be around the area as well, and that's where it gets very tough when it comes to just face checking this team here. Of course, you could throw some bombs, you could throw some of these spells here, and the blue trinkets are already down. And this is where we talk about the vision game of what Snowman can do, right? Usually they have a great defensive vision line, but unfortunately they don't really have a good way of approaching here because look at the people who has to face tank. Magi can't really face tank because he's Tom Kench. Eric ZA can face tank, but he's building magic damage, so he can get easily blown up. The only person who can safely walk into those bushes is Uncle Derry on that Nautilus and as a tank. But here's the thing, he's a top laner. He's going to have to control some side lanes, and if he's not there, that means that they can't really walk in. So now you're just kind of putting too many resources in one basket to just check one thing as well. So that's where you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place, and because of that, Orgless take advantage of it. They get the Baron, and now they're looking to steamroll again for a quick and fast take.
Yeah, it is. Man, this is definitely a game where it's going to be hard for him, but they're looking still for catches. King Vets has to dodge the kitchen sink there. Chaos getting chased on down by City Witty. Lots of damage to come on in, but yeah, there were so many things that King Vets had to dodge right there, or else that was absolutely his death.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake from Eric Ziyang because he went for that auto attack with that barrel there to make sure to get some more damage in, but in order to secure that, you're gonna have to throw the explosive cask the moment you land that body slam here. And if he did, it would have forced both of them probably over the wall, and maybe Jeremy Chu can line up the Chain of Corruption onto it. But a missed opportunity nonetheless, and still, Orgless, they have the advantage, but Predator does get used to zone him off, but look at the side waves.
Yeah, but look at this. This is Ocean Drake, and it's going down. They just got vision of it, and that is Soul. And Ocean Soul, as you know, the best of the souls in a lot of players' opinions. Now Chaos in a tricky spot. Catier's looking for him. Tries to go for a prediction there. Heal has been used. Young taking a good amount of poke damage on the receiving end of that. But they're still looking to continue forward. They got the Baron buff to go on in. They got Ocean Drake to heal on up with, and this is going to be an inhibitor tower to fall down. City Witty, he doesn't care about what you're doing here, buddy. You guys have to figure out what he's going to do. He's going to run at you instead. He uses the Ragnarok to get out, disengage. Uncle Derry using the depth charge onto the Ezreal, but not going to be able to do a chase with it. And here comes Renette, the 3-in-1 coming in. He's got a special deal for you. The Chain of Corruption comes on in, but Catiers is dominating. He's going to be able to escape whatever they may have planned, and they are still just pursuing more here. This is an inhibitor.
Yeah, 3-in-1 with the flank here, and of course, the Mirror Mana now online for King Vic, so a lot of poke damage coming in when it comes to that damage, and you already see the Snowman. Unfortunately, their Snowman is slowly melting away. Their victory now getting pressured here. Respawns are coming in. They're gonna have to go for a one more fight.
Oh, Eric Yang is gonna go on down. That is one kill that's going over to their favor. Satchel Charge tried to use to just try and disengage something, but all members of Orgless are still alive, and the towers, they are falling one by one, brick by brick. Now it's Uncle Derry's turn to see what he'll be able to do. A beautiful flash forward to stop him from escaping death, and he will go down as Catiers is godlike. over on the side. Jeremy Chu goes on down. Ragnarok is popped. The Nexus is going to explode momentarily, and that is going to be game, as that is a 2-1 victory for Orgless.
Man, Orgless with another 25-minute finish here, looking dominating when it came to the game overall. And honestly, we talk about Orgless, one of the better teams in the Premier League, a solid roster, the winners of the last Premier League as well. And now this is the one that I wanted to see, the one where they played topside, they played heavily towards them, and honestly, it made them work.
I 100% agree. Like, if we look at anything from this is Orgless playing really well. You can't sleep on the opposing side, right? They went through the group of death. They got put against one of the toughest competitors to get in the first round of playoffs. They will go into double elimination, but the Cinderella story isn't over just yet. Now they got a true underdog story. They're coming all the way from it. And, I believe with the results of the last game, with that FF that happened with 100 Thieves Nets going against First Play Crusade went forward. So I believe they end up having to go against 100 Thieves Nets, which is still, yet again, another tough matchup. These guys can't catch a break when it comes down to what opponents they have to face. But hell, they have proven to, I think, a lot of people out there that they are one hell of a team.
Yeah, they definitely have when it came to that game one here. They like to play that slow and steady game, right? So definitely put in a lot of work here. But their early game, they need to sharpen it up here. Eric Z Yang got caught out a lot the entire series, game one, game two, and game three from City Witty here. So I'm gonna have to see if they can shape it up here because we take a look at 100 Thieves next. They're probably one of the most dominant teams right now in this league here, and they have to play against them. If they play against Orgus and play against them, more likely people are going to say 100 Thieves next can definitely take the victory against Orgus. So gonna have to see if they can shape around, and see if they can play around the early game, because that early game in game one, a little bit of mistake from Cat Ears giving them that early lead. So if they can get that early lead though and push their late game composition to fruition, they could definitely take it.
Well, with that being talked about, man, we have to look over here, right? We're looking at this team, and you and me, first and foremost, we need to talk about this in series as a whole. And we need to talk about players that were very, very impactful over here from the side of Orgless. 3-in-1 Warrior, City Witty, Young, Cat Ears, King Vets, they all had moments that looked very impressive in their own ways. But the big spotlight, I feel like we definitely have to talk about the performance that City Witty has put in game after game after game inside the series.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the main reasons why that early game went so well for them game two and in game three here. Tracking down Eric Z Yang, taking the red buff in game three, definitely helped him out. And in game two, going for that blue buff invade, of course, fighting Eric Z Yang, a one-on-one helped him out so much here. Game two resulted in an FF. Keep that in mind. So that's how dominating they were in game two. And it was all off of making sure Eric Z Yang was pinned down to the floor. He was, at the end of the day, was 2-5-2 at the end of the game here. And that's how dominating Orgless was around City Witty, and making sure pinning down Eric Ziang on his graves was here. So honestly, got to give a lot of credit to him. But at the end of the day, Orgless, they just play as a well-functioning machine. Play heavy topside, help out 3-in-1 Warrior, play towards Young for the mid 2v2s, and make sure that bottom lane is in a stable state so the Cat Ears can make a move and IK Vex can farm safely, right? It's been their bread and butter for so long, and it's been working wonders.
Yeah, and we are going to actually take a moment to look at the bracket here. And as you can actually see how the bracket has formed after tonight's games here. Got a lot of really cool things to actually keep our eyes on. And it really shows what Upsurge is going to be shaping out to. Where Issue is critical, taking on Full Spectrum, First Blue Crusade, taking on Orgless. Those two matches themselves are going to be insanely hype. And then you look over on the other side, a new Academy taking on Horizon Esport, and then Snowman Slammers taking on 100 Thieves Nets is going to be pretty nuts indeed. I'm ready to see how these two teams, like every single one of these matches, look like they're going to be close as can be.
Yeah. And I definitely agree as well. It has been a far cry from last year, but still, nonetheless, these are some solid damn teams overall in this league as well. And we got to talk about Snowman Slammers because, of course, they did play, but we have to talk about their Cinderella story, right? Because if they truly want a Cinderella story, if this is completely scripted, they take this loss and they win against 100 Thieves next in their loser side, that's going to be a hell of a Cinderella story if I've seen one.
Well, I mean, 100 Thieves, they haven't dropped a single game besides the FF that they just dropped. So, I mean, that is definitely a possibility there. I mean, hey, if you do that, you turn around and you become a target for the entire league, I feel like. And I definitely want to see how that's going to go because, like you said, Cinderella story, man. You can't be a true underdog until you're at the very, very bottom, and then it's time for you to work your way up.
Mhm. Yeah, and honestly, credits to Orgless. They played tremendous on their victories. Game one, a little bit shaky, but still gonna see how they take it against First Blood Crusade. And keep in mind, First Blood Crusade halfway through the season picked up majority of Mirage Esports' roster. They have Tony Top, Yami, and of course Mist on the bottom side. So once they made that swap, they're pretty much undefeated right now when they came to that roster swap. So it's going to be pretty cool to see as Mirage Esports. They did take LAN ETS as well. So going to see what this iteration of the roster is going to be and how they deal against Orgless.
Oh, that will be the matchup to watch, man. There's so many things to watch here. Unfortunately for us, we don't get to watch more of them tonight. We do have to, we kind of get the teams a little bit of rest. We can't run the entire bracket overnight. I know, chilling, everybody, you guys are like, man, come on, just do it all in one night. Sorry, we're waiting until next week.
I had to wait to watch it smash already, man. Those brackets go so damn long when you're commentating a regional or you're seeing a regional go through. I'm good.
Chill's like, I've had enough. Get me out. But next week we'll be back for more UPL. If you guys want to watch at the same time, hopefully a little bit sooner at 8 p.m. EST. And also, we have more games coming your way. As Thursday rolls around, UML will be coming in. So be sure to check them out at 8 p.m. EST as well. With that being said, thank you to all you lovely ladies and gents for coming on out to the stream, checking us out. I've been Travesty. I've been joined here by Chilling. And we are going to bid you adieu.
Nani, where you at?